There is a moment in every chosen one's life when the world no longer makes sense the way it used to. When the noise fades, and something powerful, almost ancient, begins to stir from deep within. It's not loud, it's not obvious, but it's undeniable. This is that moment. You, the soul forged in silence and tested in fire, are no longer the same. The world may still see you through the lens of who you were, but they can feel the change, even if they can't name it. It's not just growth. It's not just survival. It's transformation. They see the shift in your eyes, hear it in your silence, feel it in your presence. The truth is, your glow isn't on the way. It's already here. Before beginning the video, let's subscribe, like this video, and stay with me until the end of this message, and you will understand why you were led here. This is your moment. They may look at you now and wonder what changed. Some assume it's your appearance, your style, your glow, your posture. But what they're witnessing isn't surface level. It's the radiance of someone who was refined in silence and shaped by struggle. This isn't a makeover. It's a rebirth. You didn't rise because you followed trends or mimicked what was popular. You rose because you endured what others couldn't. Every ounce of strength you carry wasn't gifted. It was earned in the fires of rejection, betrayal, and quiet nights of deep self-reflection. The glow they see now? It came from within, from pain that didn't break you, but built you. And the irony? While they were watching for your downfall, your roots were growing deeper. You were transforming where no one could see, inwardly, spiritually, and eternally. Now that you've emerged, their confusion is loud, but your transformation is louder. They can imitate your look, your words, your walk, but they'll never replicate your spirit. Because you were not fashioned by trends, you were forged by truth, and that makes your presence not just beautiful, but unshakable. There was a time you tried to shrink, fitting yourself into the comfort zones of others, making yourself smaller so they wouldn't feel insecure. You softened your truth, dulled your shine, and wore humility like armor. But no more. The truth is, your light was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to illuminate. And now, as your spirit awakens and your energy expands, you're realizing that your very presence changes the atmosphere. You walk into a room, and something shifts. Conversations quiet. Eyes turn. Not because of your outfit or your voice, but because your essence enters first. Your light speaks before you do. It isn't arrogance, it's awareness. You've discovered who you are, and that self-knowing radiates in ways that can't be explained, only felt. Some may call it intimidating, others mysterious, but what they're really sensing is your alignment. You no longer blend in because you weren't created to. You were made to stand out, not for praise, but for purpose. So stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. Let it shine unapologetically. Because when you walk fully in your truth, your presence becomes unforgettable. In a world that celebrates imitation, your refusal to pretend is what sets you apart. While others wear borrowed identities like costumes, chasing trends, reshaping themselves to be accepted, you show up as you are, no mask, just truth. That truth, though quiet, commands the room. You don't need to announce your authenticity. It radiates from you like warmth in winter, subtle yet undeniable. And while others scramble for applause, your stillness draws attention without effort. You're not trying to be different. You simply are, and that alone makes you unforgettable. Authenticity doesn't shout. It resonates. It doesn't beg for approval. It stands in confidence. Most people fear being seen without their layers, but you've stopped hiding. You've let your wounds breathe, let your story live, and in doing so, you've become magnetic, not because you seek validation, but because you embody liberation. Your authenticity is not rebellion, it's remembrance. A return to who you were before the world told you to become someone else. And that remembrance is powerful. It shakes people awake. It inspires some, unsettles others, but it always leaves a mark, because real is rare. And you, just by being real, are changing everything. You've always known things without being told. While others listen to what's said, you hear what's left unsaid. You feel the tension in a glance, the ache behind a smile, the storm hiding beneath silence. It's not guesswork, it's your gift. Your intuition is not just a skill, it's a sacred language that doesn't require words. And while it may unsettle those who prefer masks, it comforts those longing to be seen. Because with you, they are seen, not just for who they pretend to be, but for who they really are beneath the surface. You don't expose people, you reveal truth through presence. That's what makes you unforgettable. People come to you without knowing why. Strangers open up. Friends feel safe in your silence. It's not that you ask the right questions, it's that your energy gives them permission to drop their walls. You mirror back to them the emotions they've buried deep, and the ones who fear being known? They'll call you intense, maybe even too much, but the truth is, you're just deeply tuned in. You feel what others overlook. You sense what they suppress. That's not sensitivity. It's spiritual perception, and it's part of what makes your presence powerful beyond words. You no longer need to explain yourself. You don't raise your voice, don't draw lines with words, but somehow, people know. They feel it. There's a shift in your energy, a quiet authority that speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. This is what happens when you begin to honor your worth. You've stopped entertaining what drains you. Stop justifying your silence or defending your decisions to those who never truly listened. Now, when someone enters your space, they sense the difference. It's not coldness, it's clarity. A spiritual signal that says, this is sacred ground. You no longer allow chaos to cross your threshold, not because you're guarded, but because you finally understand the value of peace. Your presence itself draws a line that says, only what aligns may remain, and those who once took advantage of your kindness now tread carefully, not because you've become harsh, but because your energy no longer bends for comfort. It stands in truth. That's the power of an unspoken boundary. The strongest walls aren't built from bricks. They're built from self-respect. And the people who once mistook your silence for weakness now see it for what it truly is. Strength, grounded and immovable. You didn't announce your evolution. You didn't need to. The shift within you spoke volumes before you ever said a word. Real transformation never begs to be seen. It simply becomes impossible to ignore. There's a new presence about you now. It's in your eyes, in your stillness, in the way you move through the world with quiet confidence. People may say you look different, but it's not your appearance that changed. It's your energy. Your light isn't cosmetic. It's cosmic. You've grown in silence, healed in solitude, and risen in ways most can't understand. While they were watching for signs on the outside, the real glow-up happened on the inside. That glow? It's the soft fire of someone who's met themselves in the dark and chose to rise with grace. They can't place what shifted, but they feel it. It's not style, it's spirit. You no longer walk in the room seeking space. You own it without trying. And while some are drawn to it, others are intimidated by it. Because deep down they know. What you carry can't be faked, copied, or taken. You didn't transform for applause. You transformed for alignment. And now, you glow because you've become who you were always meant to be. In a world that rushes to speak, you've mastered the rare strength of stillness. While others talk to be heard, you listen to understand. Not just the words, but the silence between them. That's where your power lies. Your empathy isn't loud or performative. It's quiet, deep and disarming. People feel safe around you without knowing why. Strangers open up, friends reveal secrets they've never shared, and even those who try to hide find themselves seen, completely and without judgment. It's not just kindness, it's presence. You feel what others avoid. You sense the sadness behind the smile, the fear behind the anger, the truth buried beneath the mask. And yet you don't expose or exploit. You hold space. You allow others to feel understood, sometimes for the first time. That kind of empathy can't be taught. It's a gift, a sacred one. And in a world starving for authenticity, your presence is a healing balm. It unsettles the fake and comforts the broken. They may not remember your words, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Because in your presence, they found something they didn't know they were missing. Real connection. That's not softness. That's strength. That's your edge. You weren't made to race. You were made to rise. While others exhaust themselves trying to outshine, you've stepped into a different rhythm entirely, one that isn't frantic or forced. It's rooted in purpose. You've realized something most people never do. Competition is distraction, but creation is liberation. You're not here to mimic the crowd. You're here to build something they can't duplicate. Your ideas, your voice, your vision, it all flows from a place deeper than applause. That's why you don't panic when others succeed. You understand that your path is sacred and your timing divine. While they chase relevance, you craft legacy. There's a calmness in you that rattles those stuck in comparison. They don't understand how you move so confidently, so peacefully, without needing to prove anything. But that's the beauty of purpose. It eliminates the need for permission. Your focus is your fire. And by choosing to create instead of compete, you've become untouchable. Imitation can't reach where authenticity flows. You're not in the race because you've already won. In your own lane, by your own light, for your own reasons. And that's exactly why your energy can't be copied, because you didn't come to impress, you came to impact. You don't need to speak loudly to be heard. Your depth carries a silence that echoes louder than noise. And when you enter a space, it's not your volume that shifts the atmosphere, it's your presence. There's something about you that unsettles the surface level. While others chase attention with shallow charm, your energy cuts through illusions. You don't perform, you reveal. Not with speeches or demands, but through stillness, focus, and authenticity. Your eyes hold questions most people avoid asking. Your silence invites reflection. And in that quiet, others are forced to face themselves, sometimes for the very first time. It's not that you're trying to be intense. You simply refuse to live at the surface. You value meaning over mimicry, truth over trend, connection over crowd. Some admire you, others avoid you, but all of them feel you. They don't know why being around you makes them rethink their lives, their relationships, their routines. But you do. It's because your soul doesn't settle for superficial. You walk in purpose, and it challenges those still clinging to performance. You didn't come to fit in. You came to awaken. And when depth walks into a shallow room, ripples are inevitable. You weren't just shaped by pressure, you were refined by it. While others bent under the weight of life, you absorbed the lessons, stood taller, and carried on with silent strength. You didn't just make it through the fire, you became it. There's a calm in your walk, a steadiness in your presence that tells a story without needing words. People feel it, even if they don't understand it. They sense the gravity in your silence, the grace in your survival. You are proof that peace can live on the other side of pain, and that's what makes you magnetic. Not that you avoided hardship, but that nothing could keep you down. Your resilience is quiet, but it's unshakable. And those who once doubted you now watch in awe, not just because you endured, but because you've become unstoppable. They expected anger. They expected revenge. But you chose something far more powerful, peace. Forgiveness wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. You realized holding on to bitterness only chained you to the pain they caused. So, you let go, not for them, but for you. Because your healing mattered more than their apology. You didn't win by fighting back, you won by rising above. And that's what confuses them most. You didn't return fire, you returned to yourself. In choosing peace over pride, you reclaimed your power in full. Now their actions no longer define you. The freedom you walk in does. They wanted to see you broken, but instead they now see you glowing. Untouchable, unbothered, unmoved. Your forgiveness disrupted the cycle. It ended the war. And in doing so, you became the revolution they never saw coming. While the world runs after applause and attention, you chose something deeper: purpose. While others shape themselves to fit the moment, you move with timeless intention. You don't follow trends, you follow truth. And that's why your presence feels different. It's not loud, but it lingers. It doesn't demand attention, it commands respect. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be aligned. And the irony? The more you ignore the crowd, the more magnetic you become, because people are drawn to what's real, even if they don't know how to name it. Your consistency speaks louder than applause. Your clarity cuts through the noise. And as others burn out chasing visibility, you rise quietly, anchored, focused, unstoppable. You didn't choose the easy path. You chose the right one. And in doing so, you became not just someone to watch, but someone to follow. You've spent too long trying to shrink into spaces that couldn't hold your light. But now you see it clearly. You were never created to blend in. You were shaped by fire, refined by silence, and called to rise in ways others can't comprehend. This journey was never about acceptance. It was about alignment. And now every step you take in truth makes your presence louder, your purpose sharper, your glow undeniable. You're not just different, you're designed. And the world is finally catching up to what heaven already knew. You were born to stand out. It's a quiet war, a hidden conflict that wages not in the streets but in hearts. It lingers behind the smiles of the faithful, behind lifted hands in worship, behind passionate sermons and daily devotions. It is the battle with lust, a struggle not limited to the lost or the lukewarm, but one that grips even the most devout, the most committed, the most chosen. In the spiritual realm, there are those marked by God, chosen vessels set apart for divine purpose. Yet many of them carry a burden they dare not speak aloud. They wrestle with thoughts they wish they didn't have. They wage war against temptations that seem relentless, deceptive, and shameful. Why? Why would those filled with the Spirit of God feel torn in this way? This is not a sign of weakness, nor is it an indication of failure. It is not proof that someone is less spiritual or unworthy of God's call. Rather, it is often a sign of something greater, a sacred calling, a spiritual awakening, a life in transformation. This message seeks to uncover the 5 reasons why God's chosen silently struggle with lust, and how understanding these truths can lead to healing, power, and ultimate victory. Reason 1. A new creation faces an old war. When someone gives their life to Christ and becomes born again, a divine transformation takes place. The Bible tells us in 2 Corinthians 5:17, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here." This is more than a spiritual metaphor. It is the beginning of a brand new identity. The heart changes. The desires shift. There's a new hunger for righteousness, a new love for the things of God, and a growing hatred for sin. Yet with this new life comes a paradox that catches many believers off guard. Even as a new creation, the believer often finds themselves in an intense internal struggle, especially when it comes to lust. Why does this happen? Shouldn't transformation erase old temptations? The answer lies in the very nature of spiritual rebirth. Becoming a new creation in Christ doesn't mean the old world vanishes. It means a new war begins. Before salvation, sin ruled unchecked. Lust was not battled but embraced. There was no conviction, no internal resistance. The desires of the flesh were followed without remorse, often disguised as natural or even desirable. But once the Holy Spirit takes residence in the believer's heart, everything changes. Suddenly, there is a new voice, a holy voice, whispering, convicting, and reminding the believer of their identity in Christ. Lust, which once brought pleasure, now brings sorrow. What was once welcomed is now resisted. This is not a sign of spiritual failure. It is, in fact, a sign of spiritual life. The struggle itself is proof that something within has shifted. It is more than just fleeting desire. It is a spiritual warfare between the renewed soul and the lingering impulses of the flesh. This constant tension can leave many feeling confused and even ashamed. They wonder, if I truly belong to God, why do these desires still arise? But this turmoil is not a sign of failure. It is a clear indication that salvation has taken root. The Holy Spirit is actively at work, convicting the heart, pulling it away from spiritual compromise, and leading it toward a life of holiness and obedience. This battle is not meant to discourage, but to awaken. It is a call to lean into grace, to grow in discipline, and to fight with the strength that only Christ can provide. Romans 8:13 encourages us, "If by the Spirit you put to death the misdeeds of the body, you will live." You are not weak because you struggle. You are alive because you do. Temptation is not a sign of defeat, and the presence of lust is not proof that you are still chained. On the contrary, the very pain you feel when facing temptation is evidence that the Spirit of God is transforming your desires. You are a new creation, yes, but that new creation must now learn to stand in victory over an old enemy. Reason 2. The flesh was never redeemed. One of the greatest misunderstandings in the walk of faith is the assumption that salvation instantly erases all sinful desires. Many believers, especially new ones, find themselves disillusioned and ashamed when they realize that even after accepting Christ, the pull of lust, temptation, and past sin still lingers. But here's a powerful truth that brings both clarity and comfort. When your spirit is reborn in Christ, your flesh is not. While your soul experiences a miraculous transformation, your physical body and its appetites remain unchanged. The same body that once craved sin still remembers those cravings, and it does not automatically forget the pleasures it once indulged in. This is why the Apostle Paul speaks so candidly in Galatians 5:17, saying, "For the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with each other." This verse isn't just a theological statement. It describes a daily reality for every believer. The Spirit longs for righteousness, intimacy with God, and purity. But the flesh pulls in the opposite direction, toward comfort, gratification, and self-indulgence. The war is real, and it is relentless. Even Paul, one of the greatest champions of the faith, openly admitted to this struggle in Romans 7. He described a tension so intense that he often found himself doing what he hated, even while desiring to do good. This internal battle is not a mark of spiritual weakness. It is the very evidence of God's Spirit dwelling inside. Before salvation, there was no struggle. Sin ruled freely. But now, as a new creation, the believer is no longer at peace with sin. Instead, there is resistance, conflict, and the yearning to overcome. Yet many believers mistake this war for failure. They think, if I still struggle, maybe I was never truly saved. But that is a lie from the enemy. Satan wants the chosen to believe that the presence of temptation is proof of disqualification. In truth, it's quite the opposite. The conflict proves that your heart has changed. It proves that the Holy Spirit is at work, reshaping your will and exposing what must be surrendered. This is why the Bible commands us to walk in the Spirit, because walking in the flesh leads only to sin. It is a daily choice, a discipline, not a one-time victory. We must train ourselves, renew our minds, and allow the Spirit to guide our every thought and action. Victory over lust and fleshly desires does not come from trying harder, but from yielding deeper, from surrendering fully to God's presence, day by day. So if you find yourself in this fight, know this: you are not alone, and you are not broken. You are in the process of sanctification. You are becoming who God has already declared you to be. The flesh may still cry out, but the Spirit within you is stronger. And by walking with Him, step by step, you will overcome. Reason 3. Satan specifically targets the chosen. There's a reason why some believers feel as though they're under constant spiritual attack, why temptations seem more intense, why battles with sin, especially lust, feel relentless. Because those who are chosen by God, those marked with a divine calling, carry a weight in the spiritual realm that the enemy cannot ignore. Satan does not waste his energy on those already walking in darkness. Instead, he wages war against those who carry light. He aims his fiercest weapons at those who pose the greatest threat to his kingdom. Jesus made this reality clear when he spoke to Peter in Luke 22:31-32, saying, "Simon, Simon, Satan has asked to sift all of you as wheat. But I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail." Notice the intentionality of the enemy. He asked to sift. That word sift means to shake violently, to test thoroughly. Satan wasn't asking to casually tempt Peter. He wanted to break him. Why? Because Peter was chosen. Peter carried a future that would help shape the early church. And the enemy knew that if he could bring Peter down, he could disrupt a part of God's plan. This same truth applies today. If you are walking with God, if your life has been surrendered to His will, if you are growing in grace and bearing spiritual fruit, then you are a threat. One of Satan's most effective weapons against the chosen is lust. Why? Because it attacks not just the body, but the soul. It brings with it shame, secrecy, and a sense of unworthiness. If the enemy can trap a believer in cycles of lust, he can hinder their confidence, weaken their prayer life, and create distance between them and their calling. And Satan doesn't fight fair. He's strategic. He studies patterns, past failures, and vulnerabilities. He uses subtle seductions, an image, a memory, a casual conversation, to plant seeds of temptation. He uses modern tools like social media, entertainment, and even relationships to bait believers into compromise. He crafts a culture where sin is normalized, where boundaries are blurred, and where purity is mocked. The enemy's goal isn't just to tempt, it's to derail destinies. This is why Scripture constantly reminds us to stay alert. 1 Peter 5:8 warns, "Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary the devil prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour." The chosen cannot afford to be spiritually passive. This battle requires more than good intentions. It demands spiritual armor, prayer, fasting, time in God's Word, accountability. These aren't optional disciplines. They are lifelines in a war for the soul. If you've been under attack, if you've felt the sting of temptation more intensely since surrendering your life to Christ, take heart. It's not because you're weak, it's because you're valuable. Satan attacks what he fears, and he fears the chosen because he knows the impact they're destined to make when they walk in full surrender to God. Reason 4. The world is designed to feed the flesh. We live in a world that is not neutral. It is actively, intentionally designed to appeal to the desires of the flesh. From every corner of culture, media, music, entertainment, fashion, advertising, and social platforms, the world is constantly offering images, messages, and experiences that stir up cravings in the human heart. And these are not accidental or harmless. They are deliberate strategies from the enemy, calculated to entice believers away from spiritual truth and draw them into compromise. Scripture lays it out plainly in 1 John 2:16. "For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, comes not from the Father, but from the world." The very system of this world is constructed to normalize what God calls sin. It glorifies immorality and mocks holiness. It turns temptation into entertainment and wraps darkness in dazzling lights. What once caused shame is now celebrated, and what God calls pure is often dismissed as outdated or restrictive. This cultural conditioning creates a dangerous spiritual atmosphere where lust can easily take root, sometimes subtly, without us even realizing it. Every day, believers are exposed to countless messages that chip away at their spiritual sensitivity. A passing scene in a movie, a suggestive post on social media, a catchy lyric with destructive undertones. All of it feeds the flesh while weakening the spirit. And the more we consume, the more we become desensitized. What once disturbed us no longer does. What once grieved our hearts now feels normal. This is the slow drift the enemy hopes for, not an obvious fall, but a quiet erosion of conviction. This is why Proverbs 4:23 warns us, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. The heart is shaped by what the eyes see and the ears hear. Jesus emphasized this truth in Matthew 6:22, declaring, "The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light." What we choose to look at and focus on either fuels the fire of lust or strengthens the light of purity within us. In today's digital age, lust is not hard to find. It's only a click away. Phones, tablets, and screens meant to connect us with loved ones, and knowledge are often used as portals for temptation. Platforms that started as tools for community have become breeding grounds for impurity. It takes more than casual effort to remain pure in this kind of environment. It takes intentional action. We must be wise and discerning about what we allow into our minds. Remaining spiritually strong means drawing clear boundaries, avoiding entertainment that glorifies sin, limiting social media exposure, and filling our hearts with things that honor God. Romans 13:14 urges us to put on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provision for the flesh. Purity isn't accidental, it's a pursuit. And in a world designed to feed the flesh, those who are chosen must walk differently, seeing through the illusion and choosing the light. Reason 5. Lust becomes a stronghold. Through habit. Lust is not always loud or sudden. Often it creeps in quietly, gaining strength over time until it becomes something far more dangerous than a fleeting temptation. It becomes a stronghold. A stronghold is more than a moment of weakness. It's a deeply embedded pattern of thought and behavior that exerts power over a person's life. What begins as a glance, a thought, or a seemingly harmless indulgence can evolve into a spiritual fortress that resists conviction and enslaves the heart. And lust, more than many sins, has the potential to take deep root through repetition and secrecy. Romans 6:12 warns us, "Therefore do not let sin reign in your mortal body so that you obey its evil desires." The language here is telling, sin can reign. It can establish dominance. And when lust is allowed to grow unchecked, through pornography, inappropriate relationships, sexual fantasy, or even just continual internal compromise, it carves out a throne in the soul. The more it is fed, the stronger it becomes. And over time, it doesn't just influence thoughts, it begins to shape identity. Many believers fall into despair at this stage, wondering how they can love God and still feel so bound. The guilt is suffocating, the shame makes them silent, and the silence allows the sin to grow. But here's the truth that brings hope. Even the strongest stronghold can be torn down by the power of God. No habit, no cycle, no temptation is greater than His grace. But breaking free requires more than remorse. It demands intentional, spirit-led warfare. Overcoming lust means recognizing it for what it truly is. Not just a bad habit, but a spiritual battle that must be fought with divine weapons. 2 Corinthians 10:4 reminds us, "The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds." That power comes through the Word of God, through prayer, through fasting, and through surrender. It comes through confessing the struggle, not hiding it, through accountability, not isolation, through setting boundaries, not making excuses. Jesus used a powerful metaphor in Matthew 5:29, saying, "If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away." Of course, He wasn't commanding self-harm. He was emphasizing the urgency of radical action. If something leads you into sin, don't flirt with it. Cut it off. Delete the app. End the conversation. Change the routine. Whatever opens the door to lust must be shut with boldness and finality. Freedom is not out of reach, but it does require perseverance and daily dependence on the Holy Spirit. Psalm 119:11 declares, "I have hidden your word in my heart, that I might not sin against you." The more we fill ourselves with truth, the less room there is for deception. Lust may form a stronghold through habit, but by God's grace, that stronghold can be broken, brick by brick, until what once enslaved you becomes a testimony of deliverance and restoration. If you find yourself in a battle with lust, feeling weighed down by the tension between your spirit and your flesh, take heart. You are not alone, and you are not beyond hope. The very struggle you're facing is not a sign of defeat, but a sign of life. It's proof that God's Spirit is within you, that your heart is no longer comfortable with compromise, and that you are being transformed day by day into the image of Christ. This journey is not easy. The enemy is persistent, the world is loud, and the flesh is stubborn. But the good news is this: you are not fighting alone. God has already equipped you with everything you need to overcome. Through His Word, through prayer, through His Spirit, and through the support of a faithful community, you can walk in purity and power. So if you're struggling, don't give up. Don't let shame silence you. Don't believe the lie that you are too broken to be used by God. Instead, lift your eyes, stand firm, and continue to fight the good fight of faith. Because you are chosen. Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. If this message encouraged your heart, we invite you to like and subscribe to our channel for more Bible-based content designed to inspire, uplift, and strengthen your walk with Christ. There's a powerful story unfolding in your life, and we're honored to walk this journey with you. Until next time, stay strong in the Lord, stay rooted in His Word, and remember, though the struggle is real, so is the victory. God bless you. If you're watching this, it's not a coincidence. You were led here by something greater, by a feeling, a pull in your spirit, a restlessness you couldn't explain. You've likely sensed a shift around you, something unseen yet undeniable. The air feels heavier. Your dreams are more vivid. The people around you seem different. What if I told you this isn't paranoia, but perception? April 2025 is a turning point, a month when your spiritual senses will sharpen and your vision will no longer be limited to the physical world. This video is not just information. It is a call, an inner echo reminding you of who you truly are and why you're here. Your eyes, both physical and spiritual, will begin to receive messages from places you've long forgotten. The natural world, silent spaces, subtle glances, and invisible forces moving around you. This month will challenge your heart, confront your beliefs, and awaken your soul. You will see what others ignore, and once you see, you cannot unsee. Welcome to the awakening of vision. Welcome to April 2025. Not all eyes were created equal. While many look, only a few truly see. For those who are spiritually attuned, those often referred to as the chosen, vision transcends the boundaries of the physical world. Their eyes do more than capture light. They interpret energy, decode silence, and read the vibrations of a world most never notice. As April 2025 unfolds, this ability will not only intensify, it will awaken in ways that may be both startling and sacred. You may begin to perceive things you once brushed off as tricks of the light or coincidences. A shimmer in the corner of your vision, a fleeting shadow that vanishes before you can focus, a sudden brightness in someone's eyes that wasn't there before. These are not accidents. These are glimpses into the unseen, signals from the spiritual realm responding to the frequency rising within you. Your vision is being recalibrated, not just to observe the world, but to discern it. What others dismiss, you will feel deeply. Where others walk unaware, you will tread with intuition. You may notice emotional shifts in people before they speak, sense tension in a room before words are exchanged, or feel a powerful presence in moments of quiet solitude. This is the mark of a soul stepping into higher awareness, a soul no longer content with surface-level living. The challenge, however, is that such vision is not always easy to carry. To see through illusions means confronting truths that others avoid. You may find beauty where no one else sees it, but you will also recognize deception wrapped in smiles, heaviness masked as light, and spiritual warfare hidden in mundane moments. The world around you will not change overnight, but your relationship to it will. Being chosen to see differently is not about superiority. It is about responsibility. The responsibility to remain awake in a world lulled to sleep. The responsibility to trust what your eyes show you, even when it makes you uncomfortable. Because from now on, your sight is not just a function, it is a calling. And once your spiritual vision activates, you can no longer pretend to be blind. You were not meant to live in darkness. You were created to walk in the light and to recognize the divine, even when it's hidden in shadow. April is not merely the fourth month of the year. It is not just a passing point on a calendar or a routine season of transition. For those attuned to the spiritual, April 2025 is a portal, a sacred threshold between what was and what is becoming. It is a divine invitation to step out of old energies, outdated beliefs, and stagnant ways of being, and to walk into a realm of higher awareness, deeper truth, and inner transformation. This month holds the vibration of awakening, and with it, a subtle but undeniable pressure will begin to rise in your soul. A pressure not to fear, but to listen to. It is not chaos, but alignment. As the days of April unfold, you may sense that time feels different, slower in some moments, urgently fast in others. You may feel pulled in two directions, one that wants to cling to the comfort of the known, and another that urges you into unfamiliar, yet magnetic territory. This tension is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that you are standing at the edge of something greater. And the choice to cross that edge must come from within. This portal will not open with loud signs or dramatic spectacles. It will open quietly, through reflection, through stillness, through a series of subtle moments that stir your spirit. The nudge to take a different path, the sudden loss of interest in things that used to matter, the urge to clear space in your home, your heart, your relationships. These are not random urges. They are whispers from your higher self, asking you to make room for what is to come. And what is coming? Truth, clarity, realignment with your soul's purpose. But with truth comes the shedding of illusion, and with clarity often comes discomfort. You may be asked to release versions of yourself that no longer serve your becoming. You may be led to face aspects of your life you've kept hidden even from yourself. The portal of April does not open to everyone. It opens to those who are willing to walk through with open eyes, open hearts, and open hands. Because once you step through, there is no going back. But there is also no greater freedom than living in truth. Nature has never stopped speaking. It is we who forgot how to listen. In April 2025, that silence will break. The natural world, always alive and humming with divine intelligence, will become one of the clearest and most profound channels through which messages are delivered to the spiritually awakened. For those whose inner eyes are opening, trees, winds, birds, and even light itself will begin to speak a language beyond words, a language of symbols, sensations, and sacred synchronicity. You may find yourself drawn inexplicably to certain places in nature, a quiet tree that seems to offer peace, a patch of sunlight that feels like a blessing, a gust of wind that arrives in perfect harmony with your thoughts. These aren't coincidences. They are spiritual responses, confirmation that something beyond the visible is engaging with you, walking with you. Pay attention to these encounters. A bird landing nearby and locking eyes with you, a dog barking in the presence of someone you weren't sure about, or a sudden downpour as you wrestle with a decision. These are signs. They are not random events. They are part of the universe's language, gently nudging you toward clarity. The elements will become mirrors, revealing both what is within you and what surrounds you. The sky may show unusual colors or cloud formations that reflect your emotional state. Water might carry messages through dreams, or a sudden longing to sit near a river or ocean. Even the silence in nature may feel full, as though it's whispering something only your spirit can hear. These moments, though easily dismissed by others, will feel deeply significant to you, because they are. To truly receive these signs, you must slow down. Be still. Observe without needing to explain. Not all truth comes through logic. Some of it arrives through feeling, through repetition, through resonance. If a particular animal keeps appearing in your path, look up its symbolic meaning. If the wind stirs just as you speak your fears aloud, pause and listen. April is a month where the veil thins, and the sacred speaks softly but steadily through creation. Let the earth become your sacred text. Let the wind be your prayer. Let the animals, the weather, the movement of leaves, all remind you that you are never alone, and that the universe is always, always speaking. As the spiritual energy intensifies in April 2025, the changes will not only stir within you, they will ripple through your relationships. This is one of the most profound and often most painful aspects of awakening. When your soul begins to vibrate at a higher frequency, not everyone around you will resonate with that shift. Some connections will deepen beautifully, while others will begin to dissolve, quietly or abruptly, as if a curtain has been drawn back, revealing truths that were always there but went unnoticed. You may begin to feel out of sync with people you once felt close to. Conversations that used to bring joy might now feel forced or draining. You might sense subtle tension, misalignment, or even discomfort around certain individuals. This is not your imagination. This is energy no longer matching. And though it may feel confusing or even heartbreaking, this natural separation is not a punishment. It is a form of spiritual protection. Relationships that were built on illusion, obligation, guilt, or outdated versions of yourself will begin to unravel. The masks people wear, whether consciously or unconsciously, will begin to fall. Their words may remain the same, but their energy will tell you everything. You'll start to notice the discrepancy between intention and action, between appearance and truth. And even if no harsh words are exchanged, something inside you will whisper, "This no longer belongs." Letting go is never easy, especially when it involves longtime friends, family, or partners. But clinging to what no longer aligns with your soul will only hold you back from stepping fully into who you are becoming. Some people were meant to walk with you only for a season, not forever. Honor what you shared, grieve if you must, but release with love. What you lose in comfort, you gain in authenticity. And here's the beauty of it. As the old falls away, space is created for something new, for connections that mirror your growth, that nourish your spirit, that challenge you to stay aligned and awake. Relationships rooted in truth, not performance, in shared frequency, not shared history. This is not the end of love. It is the beginning of real love, the kind that sees you, supports your path, and walks beside your becoming. In the stillness of April 2025, as the outer world shifts and relationships realign, an even more powerful transformation will begin within you. Your inner world, the sacred hidden terrain of thoughts, memories, and buried emotions, will rise to the surface, no longer content to remain in the shadows. This is not an attack. It is not regression. It is a divine invitation to meet the parts of yourself you've long ignored and to finally make peace with them. You may begin to feel waves of emotion with no clear origin: grief, fear, sadness, even anger from years past. Childhood memories may surface without warning. Dreams might become vivid, intense, or strangely symbolic. People you haven't thought about in years may reappear in your mind. Don't resist these moments. They are not here to haunt you. They're here to heal you. These fragments of your past are not interruptions. They are messages. They're pieces of yourself returning, asking to be seen, to be held, to be loved back into wholeness. Many of us are taught to avoid discomfort, to suppress pain, to move forward and never look back. But true transformation does not bypass the wound. It walks through it. The sadness you feel may not be a sign of weakness, but a sign that something sacred is being released. Emotional pain, when honored, becomes the doorway to deeper freedom. This inner unveiling may also show up in your body. You might experience tension in your chest or gut, headaches, changes in appetite or sleep. These are not random symptoms. They are physical echoes of emotional truths asking for attention. Your body in its wisdom is helping you purge what no longer serves. In this process, gentleness is your greatest ally. You are not required to fix everything at once. You are simply being asked to stay present. Breathe, reflect, write, cry if you need to. Allow yourself to feel what arises without judgment. Healing is not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you were before the world told you to hide. Within the quiet of this month, you will rediscover your strength. Not the strength of endurance, but the strength of vulnerability. And through this inner tending, you'll begin to see the parts of you once rejected were never broken. They were sacred all along. As April progresses, your energetic field, the invisible layer of your being that absorbs, processes, and transmits vibrations, will become more sensitive than ever. This heightened sensitivity is not a flaw. It is not fragility. It is the natural result of a soul that is awakening, refining, and tuning itself to a higher frequency. You are no longer walking through the world blindly. You are feeling it, reading it, responding to it with a depth of awareness that many have not yet touched. You may find yourself suddenly exhausted after social interactions, even with those you love. You might walk into a room and instantly feel heavy, uneasy, or out of place, without knowing why. Certain conversations may feel empty or overstimulating, even painful. Crowds may overwhelm you, sounds might feel louder, lights too bright. This is your energetic body alerting you. Something has changed. You are no longer able to tolerate environments, people, or patterns that drain your spirit. What you used to ignore or endure now feels unbearable, not because you've grown weaker, but because you've grown clearer. Your soul is rejecting what no longer serves it, and your body is responding with truth. Honor that response. This isn't a call to isolate, it's a call to listen. Solitude, quiet spaces, nature, deep breathing, meditation. These will become sacred tools, helping you reset and restore. Not because you are escaping, but because you are recalibrating. In a world that often rushes and numbs, your sensitivity is a sacred rebellion, a signal that you are moving in harmony with your inner truth. It's important to protect your energy now, not in fear, but with intention. Not everyone or everything is meant to walk with you in this season. That's not judgment, it's discernment. Begin to notice what expands you and what contracts you, who leaves you feeling seen and who leaves you feeling small, where your energy flows freely and where it withers. Your sensitivity is not a burden. It's a gift, a compass, a guidepost leading you back to what is real. Don't ignore it, don't push through, respect it, because the more you honor your energetic boundaries, the more clearly you'll hear the voice of your spirit, and the more peaceful and powerful your path will become. Though the path of awakening can feel isolating at times, you were never meant to walk it alone. As your inner world transforms and your vision sharpens, you may notice something quietly miraculous beginning to take shape. A new community, one not built on proximity, but on soul resonance, will start to form around you. This is not a community of convenience. It is a sacred gathering of like-hearted souls, drawn together by unseen threads of shared purpose, mutual recognition, and spiritual alignment. These people may enter your life in unexpected ways. A brief conversation with a stranger that leaves a lasting impact. A book recommendation that leads to an important connection. A name that keeps surfacing until you finally pay attention. You'll begin to notice synchronicities, gentle nudges from the universe guiding you into encounters that feel strangely familiar, as if you've known these individuals before, perhaps in another lifetime. And perhaps you have. This community will not be based on appearances, status, or social performance. It will be rooted in truth, energy, and inner knowing. You will feel it in your body, a sense of safety, of recognition, of peace. In their presence, you won't have to explain your journey, your visions, your sensitivity. They will simply understand, because they too have walked through fire to stand in light. These connections will uplift you, challenge you, and remind you that your path, while personal, is part of something far larger, a collective awakening. The loneliness you once felt will begin to fade, not because you've returned to the crowd, but because you've found your soul family. And within this sacred circle, you'll experience the power of shared intention, of spiritual collaboration, of hearts beating to the same quiet rhythm. Do not rush this formation. Let it happen naturally. Trust the timings, trust the intuitive pulls, trust the soft yes your spirit gives when you meet someone who feels like home. This new community will not replace your journey, it will strengthen it. Together you will hold space for one another. Together you will rise. Because in this new world we are entering, no one ascends alone. And as you step more fully into your truth, you will see the right people will arrive, not to complete you, but to remind you that you were never alone to begin with. April 2025 will not be easy, but nothing truly transformative ever is. This month is not meant to break you, but to remake you. Not to punish, but to purify. What your eyes begin to see, both in the world around you and deep within yourself, will stretch you, challenge you, and ultimately free you. This is the season where illusions fall away, where masks dissolve and where truth steps forward, raw and unfiltered. There may be endings, but with every ending comes sacred space for a new beginning, a new vision, a new alignment with who you were always meant to be. Somewhere behind the curtains of silence, unseen eyes are watching. You feel it, don't you? The air has shifted. Something invisible has broken loose, not with noise, not with confrontation, but with one quiet, courageous act. You walked away. You turned your back on control. You stepped out of the system of fear that once held you captive. And now, the world, once certain in its illusion of stability, is beginning to tremble because of you. You weren't supposed to find peace outside their boundaries, but you did. And your courage became more than an escape. It became a signal, a spark of hope in hearts that had long forgotten they were allowed to dream of freedom. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, we just want to say, thank you. Thank you for showing up, for listening, and for being part of this awakening. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join a growing community of souls choosing truth over fear. And we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts, your story, or even just a word that resonates with you. Your voice matters. Your freedom is just the beginning, and we're honored to walk beside you on this journey. They built it so carefully, a world that looked orderly, harmonious, and unshakably firm. From the outside, everything seemed in place. Silence passed as peace, and obedience masqueraded as unity. But beneath the polished exterior lay the true foundation of their empire: fear. It wasn't admiration that upheld their power, nor was it wisdom or fairness. It was control, cunningly crafted and methodically enforced. They ruled not with love, but with leverage, not through inspiration, but through intimidation. Every decision was guided by one goal: to keep others small, compliant, and afraid to question. Those who followed didn't do so out of loyalty, but out of dread. Dread of punishment, of what might happen if they ever dared to step out of line. It was about domination dressed in the garments of leadership. The puppet master, the self-appointed authority, didn't need to prove their value. They demanded submission. They instilled the belief that survival required obedience, and that questioning them would only lead to chaos. The more their followers feared losing favor, the more tightly they clung to the illusion that this was the only way life could work. It was a system held together not by truth, but by illusion. A house of cards balanced on manipulated minds and manufactured consequences. Yet illusions are only powerful as long as no one challenges them. Their power thrived in darkness, in silence, in blind compliance. The moment someone saw beyond the veil, the moment you did, the architecture they spent years constructing began to tremble. Because in a world built on fear, the greatest threat is not rebellion, It is awareness, and awareness once awakened cannot be undone. You stepped out of the system they told you was unbreakable, and then the unthinkable happened. Nothing. No collapse. No divine punishment. No unraveling of your life. The sky didn't fall. The silence that followed was louder than any warning they had ever given. And that silence stirred something deep in the hearts of those still inside. People began to notice. They watched, waiting for your downfall, clinging to the belief that disobedience brought disaster. But as days passed and you not only survived, you flourished. The cracks in their certainty began to form. Doubt crept in, slowly, softly, like dawn breaking through a tightly drawn curtain. If they left and are still standing, what else have we believed that isn't true? It began in whispers, hushed conversations, sideways glances, brief moments of hesitation before following orders. But even a whisper, if true, is louder than 1,000 lies. The impossible had happened before their eyes. Someone escaped the web and lived to tell the tale. And if you could leave, perhaps they could too. That thought, fragile but relentless, lit a fire. You didn't mean to be a spark. You were just being true to yourself. But that spark found dry ground, and what once was held together by fear now flickered with questions, with curiosity, with quiet courage. All because one person, you, chose freedom over fear. At first, they told themselves it was a fluke, a small act of defiance that would soon fade away, but it didn't. Your absence, quiet yet undeniable, began to echo through the halls of their carefully constructed illusion. What they built was never real authority. It was a performance, upheld by fear, and maintained only so long as no one dared to question it. But you did, not with confrontation, not with outrage, simply by choosing to live outside their control. That choice alone was enough to expose the truth. They were never as powerful as they appeared. Without your submission, their words lost weight. Their commands began to fall flat. One by one, others noticed. Not just that you had left, but that you were free. Their threats, once terrifying, now rang hollow. And when no punishment came for you, the spell began to break. What was once unshakable now seemed fragile. The obedient began to hesitate. Those who had enforced the rules began to second-guess. Loyalty, once blind, became laced with unease. You hadn't raised a rebellion. You had revealed reality. And reality was this: the control they held was never about strength, but about secrecy. It could only survive in the dark, in silence, in fear. But now the lights had been turned on. The illusion was crumbling, not because you attacked it, but because you no longer needed it. That was the truth they couldn't bear. That someone could live, breathe, and thrive beyond their grasp. And worse, others were beginning to believe they could too. The collapse had begun, not with chaos, but with clarity. You had done the one thing their entire system couldn't withstand. You disproved it, simply by walking away. Panic never announces itself with grace. It scrambles, it claws, it disguises itself in desperate attempts to appear composed. And now, stripped of the illusion of control, that's exactly what they're doing. The puppet master, once towering in perceived authority, is unraveling behind the scenes. With each day that you remain free, they lose ground. They cannot bear the thought that someone escaped, not because they care for you, but because your freedom is a threat to the illusion they've so desperately curated. So they scramble. They try everything. Guilt-laced words wrapped in concern, whispers of, "You've changed," subtle insinuations that you're lost. They craft crises from nothing, sowing confusion and conflict where there is none, hoping to draw attention away from their own crumbling influence. If they can't control you directly, they'll try to control how others see you. All of it, the rumors, the faux compassion, the staged concern, is nothing more than an elaborate performance designed to do one thing: bring you back into the fold. Because if they can bring you back even briefly, they can point and say, "See? No one really leaves." That illusion, the myth of inevitable return, is the last thread holding their narrative together. They need you to return, not out of love or reconciliation, but to restore the lie that you've already shattered. And when guilt doesn't work, they'll escalate. They'll send others, masked as friends, pretending to understand, only to gather information, to find your weakness, to spin your words against you. But what they don't understand is that once you've tasted truth, no amount of manipulation can bind you again. The game they're playing is already lost. They just haven't accepted it yet. All you did was choose truth, and somehow, that was enough to spark a quiet revolution. Without ever intending to lead, you became a guidepost. Without seeking influence, you became influential. Because in a world obsessed with control, freedom is magnetic. Others look at you now, not because you demanded it, but because they see something they've been longing for: a life unchained. You walk with clarity, and you move forward, unburdened by the weight of approval or fear. That kind of peace is rare and powerful. It calls to something deep inside others, something that's been silenced for too long. They study your steps not because you ask them to, but because your life whispers a different way, a better way. And as they watch, many begin to realize that their chains were never locked, only imagined. That's what unsettles the puppet master the most. You're not campaigning against them. You're not trying to overthrow anyone. Yet your very existence outside of their control exposes the fragility of their reign. It reveals that obedience wasn't loyalty. It was fear. And now, fear is losing its grip. Your influence grows not by force, but by freedom. Not by shouting louder, but by standing still. That's the paradox they cannot understand. That someone with no need to dominate can hold more sway than those who rule with iron fists. You are not powerful because you sought power. There was a time when their presence struck fear, when a single word, a glance, a command could make hearts race and minds fall silent. They were untouchable, or so it seemed. Cloaked in authority, they commanded not through respect but through intimidation. Their name was spoken in hushed tones, their approval was coveted like oxygen, and their wrath avoided like fire. But now, something has shifted. Where once there was fear, there is something far more damning: pity. People no longer tremble when they speak. They tilt their heads with quiet disbelief. The same voice that used to silence entire rooms now sounds desperate, even hollow. Their actions, once seen as calculated and commanding, are now transparent attempts to hold together a crumbling empire. The power they clung to for so long is fading, and they know it. But what truly terrifies them is not the loss of influence. It's the indifference. People no longer care. The obsession, the reverence, the fearful loyalty they once inspired is dissolving into silence. And silence is far more dangerous than defiance, because it means they no longer matter. They yell louder, stir up drama, demand attention, but the crowd that once hung on every word is drifting away. Even their most loyal followers are beginning to look elsewhere for guidance, many turning their gaze to you. And that, above all else, is what haunts them. That the same people who once defended them without question now see them for what they truly are. Not powerful, but pitiful. Their fearsome image is fading, replaced with the image of someone grasping at shadows, terrified of being forgotten. And the irony is unmistakable. The one who once held everyone captive in fear now finds themselves trapped in irrelevance. Something irreversible is happening, and no matter how tightly they cling to their fading throne, the tide will not turn back. It began slowly, just murmurs, glances, a flicker of hesitation in those who once followed blindly. But now, the whisper has become a conversation, and that conversation is turning into action. People who were once enforcers of the system are beginning to question everything. They are comparing notes, reflecting on their experiences, and realizing the cracks were always there. They were simply trained not to see them. What held them captive for so long wasn't truth, but fear, expertly woven into every command. But fear is a poor foundation, and once it's gone, the entire structure begins to wobble. Now, those who once silenced others in defense of the puppet master are speaking out, asking questions, and facing the truth they once avoided. They are awakening, not because someone ordered them to, but because your courage showed them it was possible. Your simple act of leaving was a seed planted in dry ground, and now it's blossoming into collective clarity. The system they relied on to keep everyone small is failing, and they know it. Every person who steps away adds to the unraveling. The fear that once united them is turning into a shared sense of betrayal, not just by the one who ruled them, but by the very lies they were fed. They are realizing they were never truly protected, only controlled. And the more they see, the less they believe. This shift cannot be undone because it is no longer just about you. It's about them reclaiming their minds, their voices, their lives. The spell has broken, the truth is out, and there's no going back. They never truly saw you, not as a person, not as a soul with depth, dreams, and purpose. To them, you were a role, a utility, a piece of their machine designed to obey, to conform, to serve their agenda. They never loved you. They used you. You were valuable only so long as you were useful to their system. And the moment you stepped out of line, questioned the script, or dared to imagine something greater, they rewrote your story for you. Not as a seeker of truth, but as a traitor. They whispered that you were unstable, rebellious, lost. But that was never the truth. The truth is, they were terrified of what your freedom represented. Because when you walked away, you weren't just breaking their rules. You were breaking the illusion that no one ever leaves. And in doing so, you shattered the lie they depended on. That control was permanent. That obedience was natural. That their grip was unbreakable. They don't miss you. They miss having power over you. What they grieve isn't your absence. It's the loss of the image they crafted of themselves. As untouchable, central, absolute. Your departure didn't just remove you from their system. It revealed that their system was never real to begin with. Now, they are scrambling not to win you back out of care, but to reclaim the narrative. Because if you can leave and thrive, it proves they were wrong all along. You are not who they said you were. You are not a failure. You are not lost. You are free. And finally, you're becoming exactly who you were always meant to be. They crafted the narrative carefully, that anyone who left would suffer. That separation meant isolation, that stepping away would surely end in regret. You were supposed to fall apart without them. That was the story they repeated over and over, not just to you, but to everyone watching. And so, when you walked away, they waited. Waited for your collapse. Waited for the moment they could say, "See? No one survives outside." But that moment never came. Instead, something they never anticipated began to unfold. You flourished. You found peace they couldn't fake. You discovered strength they never taught. You grew in silence, rebuilt in stillness, and began to shine in a way they never allowed. And the people who once believed in your inevitable failures started to take notice. Their fear-based faith began to tremble, because what they saw wasn't someone broken or lost. It was someone alive, someone radiant, someone becoming whole. And suddenly all the warnings they had been fed seemed hollow. If you could thrive in the freedom they were taught to fear, maybe the fear itself had been the lie. That truth, your success, your peace, your joy, became the loudest contradiction to their doctrine of control. You didn't argue. You didn't return to confront them. You simply lived, and your life became the evidence. That was the blow they couldn't recover from, because nothing disarms a system built on fear faster than someone who escapes it and blooms. You were never supposed to make it without them. But you did. And now they can't deny what everyone else sees clearly. You are not only free, you are thriving. And your freedom speaks louder than anything they ever threatened. You were never chosen by them, and that is the most liberating truth of all. Their version of being chosen was never about calling, it was about control. It meant staying small, obedient, silent, useful. But your true calling didn't come with chains, it came with clarity. You weren't chosen to serve their ego. You were chosen to step into something far more sacred. Truth. Something deep within you stirred long before you had the words to describe it. A quiet knowing that there was more. And when that inner voice grew too loud to ignore, you followed it, even when it meant walking alone. That step, uncertain, bold, terrifying, wasn't rebellion. It was alignment. It was purpose rising to the surface. You didn't stumble into freedom by accident. You were led, hand in hand with grace, out of the shadows and into the light of who you were always meant to be. This calling doesn't shout. It whispers. It doesn't bind. It releases. And it doesn't elevate one person over another. It simply reminds you of who you are, beneath the lies, beneath the fear. The freedom you walk in now is not an escape. It's a return. A return to your spirit. A return to your worth. A return to divine purpose. And no one, not them, not their system, not their stories, can take that away. Because this was never about their approval. It was about your awakening. You were not chosen by a manipulator looking for loyalty. You were chosen by truth itself, to live, to rise, and to reflect the light that was buried beneath years of suppression. You are not just free, you are called. This isn't the end of your story, it's the spark that marks a whole new beginning. You didn't just walk away from control, you stepped into purpose. You've shown that it's possible to rise from the ashes of manipulation, to shake off the weight of fear, and to live fully, freely, and faithfully aligned with who you truly are. The path ahead may still have questions, may still hold trials, but now you walk it with clarity, with strength. And know this, every step you take in freedom inspires someone else to believe they can walk too. Thank you for being here, for listening with your heart, and for allowing these words to speak to something sacred within you. If this message resonated with you, if you found light, strength, or even a quiet moment of clarity, we invite you to join us on this journey of truth, healing, and hope. In a world full of noise, distractions, and shallow interactions, a few rare individuals have forged a different path. These are the chosen ones, the ones who walk the road less traveled, the ones who have embraced solitude, not as a curse, but as their battlefield. While others remain lost in the chaos of their lives, the chosen ones rise, unshaken by the challenges that break most people. They carve new paths in the unknown, evolving into beings of power, clarity, and depth. But how do they do it? How do they survive the hardships that others can't even imagine enduring? It is in solitude where the chosen ones find their true strength. This isolation doesn't break them, it shapes them. It forces them to confront their deepest fears, to sharpen their minds, and to develop powers that separate them from the majority. And those powers are what make them unstoppable. If you've ever felt different, if you've ever been drawn away from the crowd, you know the silence, the feeling of being out of place, and yet, you also know that it is this very solitude that holds the key to your transformation. In this article, we will uncover the 5 supernatural powers that the chosen ones develop in solitude. Powers that make them rise above the 80% of people who remain stuck in the noise and distractions of life. These powers will not only make you unstoppable, they will also change the way you see the world and the way the world sees you. Now I invite you to hit that subscribe button and comment 777 below to join me on this journey of faith, healing, and transformation. Let's walk together. Power 1. The ironclad mind, unshaken in the face of pressure. In a world where chaos reigns and pressure mounts, the chosen ones remain unshaken, like mountains standing tall against the fiercest storms. When everything around them crumbles, they don't break. They don't panic. Instead, they thrive. While the world is designed to break the average person, through distractions, expectations, and emotional turmoil, the chosen stand firm, undeterred by the relentless forces around them. Their minds are unmovable, their will unbreakable. This unshakable mindset is not born of mere luck. It's forged in the fires of adversity. The chosen ones have faced hardships most would never imagine: betrayal, loneliness, abandonment, and despair. These trials have not been their undoing, but their shaping force. Like steel in a forge, the heat of their struggles has hardened them, giving them the strength to withstand whatever life throws their way. Each challenge they've faced has added layers to their resolve, solidifying their inner strength and resilience. While others crumble under pressure, overwhelmed by emotion and circumstance, the chosen remain standing, their hearts calm and their minds sharp. In moments of crisis, where the world spirals into chaos, the chosen ones do not react with rage, fear, or panic. They remain still, like the eye of a hurricane, calm amidst the storm. Others may lash out, make rash decisions, or allow their emotions to rule their actions, but the chosen are different. They step back and observe. They calculate their next move with precise intention, unaffected by the emotions that cloud others' judgment. Where others act impulsively, driven by the rush of adrenaline or the weight of their fears, the chosen calmly plan, making decisions with a clarity that others cannot fathom. Their ability to remain composed is often misunderstood. Many mistake their calm for coldness, assuming that the chosen feel nothing. But this is far from the truth. The reality is that the chosen have mastered their emotions. They don't suppress their feelings, they control them. They've learned how to sit with their emotions, process them, and channel that raw energy into something more powerful. Where others would allow their emotions to drive them to destruction, the chosen harness their emotional energy, refining it, turning it into strength and focus. It is in this mastery of self that the true power of the chosen lies. When most people crumble under the weight of a stressful situation, the chosen remain resolute. They are not immune to pain or distress, but they refuse to let those emotions govern their actions. Instead, they transform those feelings into something greater. The chosen can feel the sting of betrayal, the heaviness of sorrow, the intensity of anger, but they do not let these emotions control them. They take that energy, refine it, and use it to propel themselves forward. This is what makes them dangerous. While others react impulsively, the chosen move with purpose. While others explode, the chosen remain calm, calculating, and unbreakable. In heated moments, whether in arguments, conflicts, or high-stakes decisions, the chosen are the ones who remain grounded. They see through the noise, recognizing that the true battle lies not outside themselves, but within. They have already faced the greatest adversary, their own doubts, fears, and emotions. As a result, their minds are clear, their instincts sharpened, and their decisions deliberate. They are in full control, and in a world that thrives on chaos, this inner mastery gives them an edge that others simply cannot match. The greatest strength of the chosen lies not in their ability to avoid emotions, but in their ability to control them. They have learned to face the storm within, and have come out the other side with a mind stronger than steel. This is what makes them unshakable, unstoppable, and ultimately, undefeatable. While the rest of the world falters under the weight of their own emotional turmoil, the chosen walk calmly, resolutely, and purposefully, moving toward greatness with unwavering certainty. Power 2. The soul's X-ray, seeing through the masks of others. The chosen ones possess a rare gift, the ability to see through the masks that most people wear. In a world where nearly everyone hides behind a facade, pretending to be confident, happy, or at peace, the chosen see the truth that lies beneath the surface. They can hear the words people speak, but more importantly, they feel the weight of their silence. The chosen can look into someone's eyes and perceive the unspoken fears, insecurities, and desires that lurk beneath the surface. To them, the world is full of masks, but they possess the power to remove them, revealing the raw, unfiltered truth that others try desperately to hide. This ability is not something that is given lightly. It is earned through solitude. While the rest of the world fills their days with distractions and noise, the chosen sit in silence, learning to observe. They become masters of reading subtle cues, the slight hesitation in someone's voice, the tension in their posture, the flicker of doubt in their eyes. These small signals that most people miss become glaring indicators to the chosen. It's as though they possess X-ray vision, enabling them to peer past the carefully constructed facades that others present to the world and see the hidden truths beneath. What makes this ability so unsettling is that it strips people of their illusions. When the chosen look at someone, it's as if that person is laid bare, exposed for all their hidden motives, contradictions, and lies. People are uncomfortable when they realize they cannot hide their true selves from the chosen. They may smile, but the chosen can sense the resentment lurking behind that smile. They may speak confidently, but the chosen can detect the underlying insecurity. It is this ability to see through the veil of pretense that makes the chosen one so powerful and so feared. However, the chosen do not use their gift to manipulate or take advantage of others. They don't use their insights to control, they use them to understand. This power isn't about gaining an upper hand over others. It is about protecting themselves from deception and forming deep, authentic connections with the few who dare to be real. While most people live in a world of illusions, the chosen walk through life with eyes wide open, fully aware of the truths others are too afraid to acknowledge. They understand that to truly connect with others, you must first see them as they truly are, not as they present themselves. In a society where most people are actors, playing roles to protect themselves or fit in, the chosen ones see through the performance. They recognize the difference between appearance and reality, and this understanding sets them apart. They don't get fooled by charming words or polished images. Instead, they see the raw, unfiltered reality of the human experience. It is this ability to see the truth that makes them dangerous to those who rely on deception to navigate the world. The chosen are rare. Few people possess this level of clarity and understanding. But those who do are unstoppable, for they cannot be manipulated or controlled by the lies that bind most others. The power of the chosen is not just in their ability to see others clearly, it's in their capacity to navigate the world with authenticity. They recognize the masks people wear, but they are not fooled by them. Instead, they meet people where they are, seeing the truth behind the mask and connecting with others on a deeper level than most will ever experience. This is the power of the chosen, the ability to see beyond the surface, beyond the illusions, and to understand the real, raw truth that lies beneath. Power 3. The razor mind phenomenon, clarity and focus in the midst of chaos. In a world overwhelmed by noise, distractions, and constant chaos, the chosen ones have mastered the art of razor-sharp focus. While others are drowned in a sea of uncertainty, confusion, and hesitation, the chosen stand clear and resolute, their minds sharp as blades. They can cut through the noise, seeing the world with a clarity that most can only dream of. While the masses are pulled in 100 directions, the chosen remain focused, determined, and absolutely certain of their purpose. This remarkable ability to maintain hyper-focus does not come naturally. It is a skill honed over countless hours of solitude, introspection, and self-discipline. In a world where most people waste their time mindlessly scrolling through social media, engaging in shallow conversations, or filling their minds with trivial distractions, the chosen use their time differently. They embrace silence, allowing themselves to tune out the chaos around them. They learn to focus their minds, sharpening their clarity like a blade being honed to perfection. Where others are lost in the noise, the chosen see through it, pinpointing what truly matters and focusing all their energy on it. This laser-like focus is not a product of chance. It is the result of rigorous mental training. Through isolation, the chosen have learned to shut out the doubts, fears, and distractions that cloud the minds of others. They have spent countless hours reflecting on their goals, their motivations, and the path they must take. In doing so, they have developed the ability to cut through the mental fog that paralyzes others and see clearly what is important. This heightened clarity allows them to make decisions swiftly and with confidence, something most people cannot do in the face of confusion and pressure. While the world around them may be in chaos, the chosen remain calm and composed. They don't second-guess themselves. When others hesitate, caught in the swirl of uncertainty and indecision, the chosen move forward with purpose, making choices that others are too afraid to make. Their mind is no longer clouded by doubt or fear. They have trained themselves to trust their judgment completely. This ability to see clearly, to make decisions without hesitation, is what sets them apart from the rest of the world. And it is this clarity that makes them unstoppable. In a world where most people freeze when faced with pressure, the chosen step into the storm with unshakable certainty. They make decisions that seem reckless to others, but to them, it is the natural result of their unwavering focus and crystal-clear understanding of the situation. Where others get lost in the noise, the chosen move with precision, always one step ahead, always certain of their direction. This absolute clarity of thought is not just a gift. It is the culmination of their inner work, their dedication to mastering their mind and their purpose. And this power, this ability to cut through the chaos, is what makes the chosen ones truly unstoppable. Power 4. The echo of pain. Understanding the unspoken struggles of others. The chosen ones possess a rare and powerful gift, the ability to feel the unspoken pain of others. It's as if they can hear the silent cries of those around them, even when no words are spoken. While others may smile, speak politely, or hide behind masks of composure, the chosen see beyond these facades. They sense the sorrow behind a forced laugh, the insecurity hidden beneath a facade of confidence, and the desperation veiled by an outward display of control. It is not just that they see people. They feel them on a much deeper level. They can intuitively grasp the struggles that others are too afraid to show, understanding the emotional battles that remain buried beneath the surface. This ability is not something that comes easily. It is a gift forged through the chosen one's own encounters with pain. They have faced their own battles, walked through the darkest of valleys, and endured the harshest of trials. Loneliness, betrayal, heartbreak, and despair have been their companions. But instead of allowing these experiences to break them, the chosen have emerged stronger. Through their own suffering, they have developed an uncanny sensitivity to the pain of others. Just as they recognize the burn of their own scars, they can see and feel the hidden wounds in the eyes of others, even when those people are too afraid to acknowledge them. Most people, when confronted with pain, seek ways to avoid or bury it. They distract themselves with meaningless activities, deny their suffering, or build walls to keep others from seeing their vulnerabilities. But the chosen ones do not run from their pain. They face it head-on, allowing themselves to process their darkness and learn from it. This journey through their own suffering has sharpened their ability to empathize with others, giving them a rare gift, the ability to perceive the subtle signs of distress that others might miss. Far from being a weakness, this heightened sensitivity is a tremendous strength. The chosen have learned to listen to the unspoken words, to understand the energy that surrounds a person, and to connect with others in ways that most cannot. With this gift, they can offer something that few can: true understanding. They can comfort those in pain, provide a safe space for others to open up, and offer healing in ways that go beyond words. Their presence alone can be a balm for someone's soul, simply because they truly see and feel what others are going through. While others may feel uncomfortable with their ability to read the unspoken pain of those around them, the chosen embrace it. They do not use it to manipulate or judge. Instead, they use it to connect on a deeper, more meaningful level. They understand that every person carries a burden, and they have the wisdom to offer compassion without expectation. This is what makes the chosen truly powerful: their ability to step into another's shoes, to understand their unspoken struggles, and to offer comfort and healing in a world that often overlooks the silent battles people face. Power 5. The Time Alchemist. Turning solitude into mastery. Time is an unrelenting force. It moves forward without pause, indifferent to the struggles and distractions of those caught in its current. While most people let time slip away, consumed by distractions, fleeting pleasures, and shallow pursuits, the chosen ones see time as a tool, a force they can bend to their will. They are time alchemists, capable of transforming moments of solitude into opportunities for profound growth and transformation. Where others waste time, the chosen make it their ally, turning every second into an investment in their evolution. While most people dread the silence that accompanies solitude, seeing it as boredom or emptiness, the chosen see it as fertile ground for growth. They don't fill their time with the noise of the world. Instead, they embrace the silence, using it as a space to sharpen their minds, refine their skills, and deepen their understanding. For the chosen, every moment alone is a chance to improve, to master their thoughts, emotions, and actions. They know that time, once lost, can never be regained, and they refuse to squander it. Where others waste hours on trivial distractions, the chosen harness their time to build a stronger, wiser, and more focused version of themselves. In solitude, the chosen do not merely survive, they thrive. They understand that it is in these quiet moments away from the chaos and noise of the world that true transformation occurs. The isolation they experience is not something to be feared, but something to be cherished. It is in these moments of stillness that they confront their own limitations and break free from the constraints of the ordinary world. They embrace the silence, knowing that it is through solitude that they gain the clarity, strength, and insight needed to rise above the crowd. And when the chosen emerge from their time alone, they are unrecognizable to those around them. The time they've spent in solitude has refined them into something unstoppable. They are no longer bound by the distractions and limitations that hold most people back. They have mastered their thoughts, their emotions, and their actions, and now they move through life with power, precision, and purpose. They no longer follow the paths that others tread. They create their own path, guided by the wisdom they've gained from their time alone. The power of the time alchemist lies in the ability to see solitude not as a void, but as a space for growth and mastery. While others may fear the quiet, the chosen use it to elevate themselves. They know that time is the most valuable resource they possess, and they treat it with the respect it deserves. Through their ability to turn solitude into strength, they become masters of time itself, and in doing so, they become unstoppable forces, moving through life with an unwavering sense of purpose. The chosen are not ordinary. They are unshaken in the face of pressure, able to see the truth behind the masks of others, and move with unyielding clarity in a world full of noise. They feel the pain of others deeply and turn their solitude into a source of unstoppable strength. They are the masters of their time, and nothing can stand in their way. If you feel different, if you feel like you were never meant to blend in with the 80%, then you are one of the chosen. Now, it's time to unlock your true potential and use your solitude to transform yourself into the unstoppable force you were always meant to be. Chosen one. Pause for just a moment. Let every distraction fade. Silence the noise around you. Still your racing thoughts. Because what you're about to read is not just another message, not just another spiritual encouragement. This is a divine transmission from the throne room of heaven itself, and it is no coincidence that you are here. Heaven has seen your struggles, your battles, your weary nights, and your hidden tears. Every detour, every heartache, every why me, all of it has led you here. You are being summoned. Heaven has an assignment with your name on it, and this message is the confirmation your soul has long waited for. The enemy has done everything in his power to prevent you from reaching this very moment. He sent distractions, discouragements, even despair. He whispered lies into your mind, sowed fear into your heart, and tried to bury your faith beneath layers of anxiety and trauma. But you're still here. And because you're still here, you've already won a battle the enemy hoped would break you. Now, get ready. Because what you're about to receive is not merely revelation, it is divine strategy. It is a heavenly blueprint that will shift your perspective, transform the way you fight, and ignite authority within you that hell has tried desperately to suppress. This is not about hype. This is about spiritual intelligence. This is about your weapon. And tonight you are permitted, no, authorized to wield it. There is a truth many people never fully grasp, a truth that once revealed changes everything. You cannot win a war you don't even realize you're in, and you certainly can't defeat an enemy you refuse to acknowledge. This is the silent tragedy playing out in the lives of countless believers. They wake up every day feeling pressure, anxiety, restlessness, or even despair, yet they have no idea why. They chalk it up to stress at work, relational heartbreak, financial tension, or mental fatigue. But what if the real source of these struggles isn't natural at all? What if what you're facing isn't just circumstantial, it's spiritual? Chosen one, hear this clearly. Behind every visible battle is an invisible war. You're not simply overwhelmed by life's chaos. You're standing in the midst of a spiritual battlefield. Every day, unseen forces wage war against your peace, your purpose, and your identity. You are not unlucky. You are not just going through a tough season. You are being targeted by an enemy who sees your potential more clearly than you often do. The Apostle Paul put it plainly in Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. This scripture isn't metaphorical. It is a divine warning and a call to arms. Your true battle is not with the coworker who betrayed your trust or the person who walked away. It's not with the sickness in your body, the debt that keeps climbing, or the childhood wounds that never fully healed. These are the symptoms, but the source is deeper. You are contending with a coordinated network of spiritual darkness designed to drain your strength, derail your destiny, and drown out your voice before it ever rises in power. Picture this. You're standing on a battlefield. Arrows are flying, swords are clashing, warriors are charging. But you're frozen paralyzed, not because you're weak, but because you're unaware. You can't see the war swirling around you. You feel the pressure in your chest, the heaviness in your heart, the anxiety in your mind, but you don't know where it's coming from. So you stay still. You accept defeat. You live beneath the level of spiritual victory that was always meant to be yours. And that is exactly what the enemy wants. The devil thrives in your blindness. He does his best work when you live distracted, detached, and spiritually asleep. Because if you don't know you're in a war, you won't reach for your weapon. If you don't recognize the attack, you won't raise your shield. If you never resist, he can steal from your life with impunity. Your joy, your clarity, your passion, your calling without you ever pushing back. But today, everything begins to shift. Your spirit is waking up. This is not imagination. This is a revelation. You are not broken. You are not cursed. You are not crazy. You are a chosen warrior who's been under fire because of the greatness God has placed inside of you. And now that you are becoming aware of the battlefield, now that your spiritual sight is being activated, the enemy is losing his grip on your life. This is the beginning of your awakening. And from this moment forward, you will no longer live unaware. You will no longer allow darkness to operate in the shadows of your life unchecked. You are not defenseless. You are not weak. You are not alone. You are being equipped. You are being trained. You are being armed with the truth. And once you know the battle you're in, you can finally fight like someone who's destined to win. Have you ever sat quietly with your thoughts and asked, why has my life always felt like a battle? Maybe you've looked around and wondered, why do I seem to struggle more than others? Why does joy feel like a reward I have to fight for? Why does peace seem like something just out of reach? You see people smiling, thriving, walking through life with ease. Meanwhile, you've been wading through storms, some public, many private. From your earliest memories, it's felt like you've been in a fight. Even before you had the words to pray, before you understood the language of faith, you were already engaged in a war you didn't ask for. You've carried wounds that others couldn't see. You've endured betrayals from the very people who were supposed to protect you. You've walked through fire while desperately reaching for light. But here's the truth. Few will ever say out loud, "You are not cursed. You are not forgotten. You are not broken beyond repair. You are chosen." That's not a poetic idea. That's a spiritual reality. The enemy doesn't waste resources on targets that pose no threat. If you were insignificant, he wouldn't have launched such an intentional attack against your life. If there wasn't something powerful within you, he wouldn't have worked so hard to try to bury it. The battle has always been intense because of what's inside you, not because of what's wrong with you. Before you ever discovered your identity in Christ, the enemy already had. Before you ever realized your calling, hell had already marked you as a threat. Before you ever said yes to God, the enemy recognized the mantle on your life. He saw the future impact of your obedience. He saw the power in your prayers, even before you knew how to speak them. He saw the fire in your voice, the authority in your spirit, the light in your destiny. And because of that, he came for you early. He didn't wait for you to mature in your faith. He started with childhood trauma. He planted seeds of fear, rejection, shame, and confusion, hoping to derail your purpose before you could even walk in it. But here's the miraculous part: he failed. Yes, the wounds were deep. The pain was real. The silence was heavy. But none of it stopped you. You're still here. You're still breathing. You're still seeking the truth. And that alone is proof of your spiritual resilience. What hell never wanted to happen is happening now. You are waking up. You are no longer blind to who you are. You are no longer believing the lie that you are unworthy, uncalled, or unwanted. You're beginning to see yourself through heaven's eyes, not as a victim of constant attack, but as a vessel of divine power. And with every revelation you receive, you are rising. With every lie you break, you are growing stronger. With every truth you embrace, you're becoming more dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Let me say it clearly and boldly. You are a threat to hell. Your voice is powerful. Your purpose is vital. Your calling is unstoppable. The attacks on your life weren't because you're weak. They were because you're called. And now that you're stepping into that truth, the enemy knows he's running out of time. You are no longer who you used to be. You are not defined by your scars. You are not confined by your past. You are chosen, equipped, and awakened for something far greater than you've imagined. The battle around you has always been fierce, because the fire within you is even fiercer. And now, chosen one, it's your turn to rise and take your rightful place in the fight. Now that your eyes have been opened to the battle you're in and to the reason why the enemy has fought so fiercely against you, it's time to uncover the truth that changes everything. You are not defenseless. You have not been left to wander through spiritual warfare unarmed. Heaven has placed a weapon in your hands so potent, so unstoppable, that when used in faith, it causes the entire kingdom of darkness to tremble. This weapon wasn't crafted by human hands. It doesn't need bullets or blades. It doesn't rust, it doesn't run out, and it never fails. It has been tried through generations and has never once lost its power. And now, that weapon belongs to you. So, what is it? It is the Word of God. Before you dismiss that as something you've heard too often, stop and lean in. This isn't just a poetic metaphor. The Bible is not a religious relic or a collection of wise sayings. It is a living, breathing, divine instrument of war. It's not just ink on paper. It's the voice of God in written form, ready to be activated by faith and spoken with authority. Hebrews 4:12 declares, "For the word of God is alive and active, sharper than any double-edged sword. It penetrates even to dividing soul and spirit, joints and marrow. It judges the thoughts and attitudes of the heart." This is no passive book. This is no dull blade. This is a supernatural sword. And every time you speak it in faith, you strike at the very core of darkness. Every verse is a blow against deception. Every promise is laced with the authority of heaven. Every declaration becomes a strike that tears through fear, anxiety, confusion, and every lie the enemy has used to cage you. Look at the model Jesus gave us. When he faced Satan in the wilderness, he didn't engage in debate. He didn't raise his voice or argue his worth. He simply stood firm and responded, "It is written." That was enough. With those 3 words wielded with divine confidence, Jesus shattered every temptation, silenced every manipulation, and sent the enemy retreating in defeat. This is the strategy of heaven. This is spiritual warfare at its highest level, not striving, not panicking, not pleading, but standing firm and speaking what God has already spoken. You don't win spiritual battles by complaining. You don't overcome darkness by trying harder. You win when you open your mouth and release the word of God with unwavering faith. Because when you do, demons flee, chains fall, atmospheres shift, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. The enemy hopes you never realize the power you possess in your tongue. He fears the day you stop quoting scripture as a ritual and start wielding it as a weapon. He dreads the moment when you begin to speak with boldness, not because of who you are, but because of who backs every word you speak. So today, let the truth sink deep into your spirit. You are armed. You are a warrior with a sword forged in eternity. And the word of God in your mouth is sharper, stronger, and more unstoppable than any force that stands against you. You don't have to invent the power. You just have to activate it, declare it, believe it, and wield it. Because when you do, you don't fight for victory. You fight from it. And nothing in hell can stand against a child of God who knows how to draw their sword. The enemy had a plan. He wasn't aiming to destroy you in a single blow. He wanted to wear you down slowly, relentlessly, methodically. He hoped to exhaust your strength before you ever discovered who you really are. His strategy wasn't always dramatic. Sometimes it was subtle distraction after distraction, disappointment after disappointment. He hoped you would settle into defeat, shrink back in fear, and surrender your purpose without ever stepping into the authority God placed within you. But now you know the truth. And once the truth is known, the enemy's grip begins to break. You're not barely making it. You're not scraping by in the dark, hoping for a miracle. You are being positioned by divine hands for something far greater than what you've seen. Every battle you've fought has trained your spirit. Every tear you've cried has watered the soil of your calling. Every silent night, every lonely hour, every unanswered prayer, it was never wasted. It was preparation. You are not just surviving anymore. You are rising into authority. You're not simply a believer, you are a warrior. You've been clothed in righteousness. You've been baptized in fire. Your prayers shake the atmosphere. Your presence carries fire because the Spirit of the living God dwells within you. This is not just your moment. This is your divine activation. The season of silence is over. The time of delay has expired. You don't need permission from man. You've already been authorized by God Himself. Every weapon formed against you may have tried to prosper, but not one succeeded. And now you are commanded to rise. This is your time to step out of fear and into boldness, to stop retreating and start advancing, to stop questioning your worth and start walking in your authority. The battles you've endured have built you, and now the fire inside you is greater than any storm around you. Draw your weapon, speak the word, pray with fire, stand in confidence, because tonight, heaven says this clearly over your life. You have been chosen. You have been trained, and now you have been authorized. Wield your weapon, warrior. The time is now. Heavenly Father, the great I am, the Lion of Judah, the consuming fire. Today I lift up every chosen one reading this message. This is not an accident. This is a divine appointment. Let every dormant spirit awaken. Let every buried dream rise. Let every spiritual gift that has been stifled now operate with full authority. Breathe your fire, your power, your wisdom, and your anointing upon them, O God. Break every chain, silence every lie, uproot every fear, cancel every assignment of darkness formed against them. Let them walk with holy boldness. Let them stand in spiritual clarity. Let them recognize who they are, not as the world sees them, but as you have declared. More than conquerors, ambassadors of light, warriors of the kingdom. And now, O Lord, as they lift the sword of the Spirit, your word, let victory be their portion. Let healing break forth. Let restoration flood their lives. Let divine acceleration overtake them. From this moment, they will no longer fight from defeat. They will fight from victory. In the mighty, matchless name of Jesus Christ. Amen. You are chosen. You are anointed. You are armed. And now you are dangerous. Let today mark your spiritual turning point. Declare it. Proclaim it. Walk in it. You have been permitted to use the weapon. Tonight, use it. If you feel this message in your soul, acknowledge it. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment 777 below to affirm your alignment. Let the spiritual realm witness your awakening. This is your moment. This is your mission. This is your destiny. And nothing will ever be the same again. You are chosen. Now act like it. Beloved, listen with your heart, as this message is not just for you. It is about you. You are not like the others. You were never meant to blend into the crowd or follow the path others set for you. You are something different, something magnificent. You are an earth angel, a radiant beacon of divine light, sent into this world to walk among shadows and transform them with your mere presence. In every moment of your life, you have stood as a testament to the fact that you carry within you a power that others cannot fathom. But there is something most profound you must understand, something that is about to unfold before your very eyes. A force so dark, so twisted in nature, has fallen in love with you. Not because you are like them, but because you represent everything they can never be. You, Earth Angel, embody the unshakable essence of truth, light, and love. You stand tall, unyielding, when others crumble. Your presence alone unnerves the very foundation of darkness. And now this force, this master of deception, fear, and chaos, finds itself ensnared in its own traps, unable to break free. It has tried to manipulate, to deceive, to control, and yet you remain untouched, a shining light, standing firm in your truth. But what happens next? How do you respond to such a profound confrontation? You, chosen one, have been placed here for a reason, and your journey holds the key to a deeper understanding of power, love, and transformation. The chosen one stands as an unshakable force, a beacon of light in a world shrouded by darkness. From the moment you were born, you were never meant to follow the crowd, to fit into the molds of others. You were destined for something far greater, to walk a path that only the boldest souls dare to tread. Your light is undeniable, and it cannot be dimmed by the shadows that seek to consume it. While others cower in fear, you stand firm, unyielding, and fearless, radiating a strength that unsettles even the deepest forces of darkness. The devil, who has spent centuries weaving deception, manipulation, and chaos, has encountered many who have fallen before its tricks. Great kings, wise philosophers, and even the righteous have succumbed to its snares. Yet when it faced you, it found something entirely different. The traps it set, the temptations it offered, and the fears it instilled all failed to break you. In fact, they only revealed your true power. You, the chosen one, do not engage in the games of the devil. You do not play by its rules, nor do you bend to its will. While others are swayed by illusion, you see through the falsehoods, recognizing them for what they truly are, mere distractions meant to steal your peace and light. The devil, used to manipulating the minds of the mighty, finds itself powerless in your presence. It cannot use the same tactics on you that it has used for centuries to bring empires to their knees. You are not broken by its lies. You do not fall for its deceptions. Instead, you remain steadfast in your truth, unwavering in your faith, and this is what terrifies the devil. For the first time, it faces something it cannot control, a force of nature that stands beyond its reach. Your power does not lie in physical strength or in the ability to defeat the devil through violence. No, your power lies in your unwavering authenticity. The light you carry is not of this world, and it cannot be extinguished by the darkness that surrounds it. You stand firm, not because you are defiant, but because you are grounded in your truth. The devil has never encountered anyone like you before, someone whose presence alone shatters its illusions and exposes its weaknesses. It is in your stillness, in your ability to remain true to yourself, that the devil is forced to confront the very lies it has lived by. You do not need to fight. You do not need to engage in a battle of wills. You simply are, and that is enough. Your light has a profound effect on the world around you. It disrupts the devil's carefully constructed web, exposing the vulnerabilities it has spent lifetimes hiding. The devil thought it could break you, but in reality, it has become ensnared by its own deception. And now, it is you who holds the power. The more you stand in your truth, the more the darkness around you begins to dissolve, and the devil finds itself unraveling. You are the embodiment of divine strength, and this is what makes you unstoppable. The transformation begins when the devil, accustomed to controlling and manipulating, faces something it has never encountered before: your unwavering light and truth. For centuries, the devil has weaved a tapestry of deception, carefully crafting illusions to keep the world in darkness. It has watched kingdoms fall, witnessed the wise crumble under pressure, and seen the righteous stray from their paths, all due to its clever manipulations. The devil thrives on chaos and fear, using these as tools to dominate and subjugate, never expecting to encounter someone who sees through its carefully constructed facade. But when it comes to you, the chosen one, everything changes. You do not bend to the devil's will, nor do you fall into the traps set by its false promises. While the devil has spent lifetimes perfecting the art of temptation, it is powerless against your clarity and truth. The illusions it has long used to control others crumble in your presence, and for the first time, it finds itself exposed. No longer able to hide behind deceit, the devil is forced to confront the reality it has spent so long avoiding. The light you carry is not just a force that guides you. It is a force that shines on the darkness around you, unraveling everything the devil once believed to be true. As the devil stands before you, it experiences something it has never known: vulnerability. It has always been the predator, the one in control, but now it is ensnared by its own web of lies. Your unwavering presence has disrupted its power, revealing the cracks in its carefully built armor. What was once a master of manipulation is now forced to question itself. The devil, for the first time, sees that it cannot manipulate you. It cannot twist your truth. Your light exposes its deepest fears, its darkest wounds, and it is in this moment that the devil begins to unravel. The power it thought it had is revealed to be an illusion, and it stands before you, no longer the force it once was. This unraveling is not immediate, nor is it easy. The devil has existed for eons, thriving in its deception, and now it must confront the very things it has long denied. But even in the face of its own unraveling, the devil finds itself strangely drawn to you. It cannot escape the truth you radiate. It begins to realize that its power was never as absolute as it believed. Your light is not something that can be extinguished. It simply reveals what was hidden. It exposes the cracks in the devil's foundation and forces it to see what it has long avoided: the truth of its own emptiness. In this moment of confrontation, the devil stands at a crossroads. It is faced with a choice: continue down the path of destruction, or embrace the painful yet liberating journey of transformation. The light you shine is not just a force that exposes its weakness. It is a force that offers the devil an opportunity for change. It can no longer rely on manipulation to get what it wants. Instead, it must decide whether to continue in its ways or step into the light of truth that you have shown. The devil's unraveling is not the conclusion of the story, but rather a pivotal moment, a moment of opportunity for transformation, if it is willing to embrace it. The revelation unfolds when the devil, the master of deception, is confronted with a force it has never been able to control: your unwavering presence. For centuries, the devil has thrived on creating illusions, bending reality to its will, and making darkness appear as light. It has whispered into the ears of kings, manipulated the hearts of rulers, and twisted the minds of the righteous. The devil has long been a puppet master, pulling strings from the shadows, convincing the world that its version of truth is the only truth. But when it faces you, all of that begins to shatter. You are not swayed by the devil's whispers, nor are you drawn into the webs it weaves. Your clarity exposes every illusion for what it is: empty, hollow, and false. The devil, used to being the one who creates deception, is now the one whose lies are exposed. The illusions that once kept the world in darkness crumble in your light. The masks the devil wears, designed to manipulate and control, no longer hide its true nature. You see through the facade, recognizing the darkness for what it truly is: a hollow attempt to overshadow the light that resides in you. This breaking of illusions is not just about exposing lies, it is about revealing the truth that has always been hidden behind layers of deception. The devil thrives on the belief that it controls the world, that it can manipulate anyone and everyone to do its bidding. But in your presence, it can no longer hide behind its illusions. The truth you carry is too powerful for its deceitful tactics to succeed. And in that truth, the devil is forced to face the reality it has long avoided. It is not the ultimate force in the universe. The revelation is a profound moment of clarity, not just for you, but for the devil as well. The darkness it has cultivated is now exposed to the light, and for the first time, it sees the full extent of its own emptiness. All the power it once believed it had, all the fear it instilled in others, is revealed to be nothing more than an illusion. The devil has built an empire on fear, on control, and on manipulation, but in your unwavering truth, it sees that none of it is real. It is a house of cards, ready to collapse. This moment is a turning point. The devil, no longer able to hide behind its illusions, stands exposed and vulnerable. It realizes that its greatest weapon, deception, no longer holds power over you. Your light shines through every shadow, revealing the truth that has been buried for so long. And this truth is not just about exposing the devil's lies. It is about awakening the world to a higher understanding. You have shattered the illusion, not with force or violence, but with the clarity of your presence. And in doing so, you have revealed that the devil's power was never real to begin with. The revelation is more than a simple unveiling of the devil's deception. It is the beginning of a transformation. Once the illusions are broken, the devil is faced with a choice: to continue down the path of destruction, or to embrace the painful but necessary journey of self-awareness and change. The truth you have revealed offers the devil a chance to heal, to transform, and to choose a new path. Whether it chooses this path or not is yet to be seen, but the illusion has been broken, and with it, the devil's control. The power of truth, once unleashed, cannot be contained, and it is in this moment that everything changes. The devil now finds itself at a crucial crossroads, faced with a choice that it has never had to make before. For eons, it has been the one in control, the master of manipulation, the force that twists the truth and bends reality to its will. It has thrived in darkness, using fear, temptation, and deceit as tools to control and dominate. But now, in the presence of your unyielding light, the devil is confronted with something it has never fully understood: the power of truth. For the first time, its illusions no longer work. The carefully woven web of lies that it has spent centuries building has begun to unravel. The shadows that once shielded its power are no longer impenetrable. And in this moment, the devil is left with a question. Will it continue down the path of destruction, or will it step into the light and embrace the possibility of transformation? This moment of choice is not just a simple decision. It is a profound reckoning. The devil has always believed that control was the ultimate power, that manipulation and fear were the keys to shaping the world around it. But now, standing before the undeniable truth that you represent, the devil must question everything it once held to be true. The power of darkness, which has sustained it for so long, is now revealed to be hollow in the face of light. The devil's tactics, its manipulation and control, have lost their grip. The lies it has spread no longer resonate, and it stands exposed, vulnerable in a way it has never known. The question remains, will the devil allow this moment of reckoning to be its undoing, or will it seize this opportunity for change? For the first time, it has the chance to evolve, to step away from its patterns of destruction and manipulation and embrace something greater, the potential for transformation. But transformation is not easy. It requires the devil to confront its own darkness, to face the very fears and weaknesses it has long hidden from the world, and perhaps even from itself. The road to change is painful and fraught with uncertainty, but it is the only path that leads to true freedom. The choice is now in the devil's hands. It can continue down the path of chaos, destruction, and manipulation, or it can choose to let go of its old ways and open itself up to the possibility of something new. It can choose to remain entrenched in the darkness, or it can embrace the light and step into a future of healing and growth. This choice is not just about the devil's fate. It is about the fate of everything it has touched. The decision it makes will determine not only its own transformation, but the ripple effects it will have on the world around it. What will the devil choose? Will it remain in the shadows, clinging to its illusions? Or will it rise to the challenge of change and embrace the light? The decision is pivotal, and its consequences will echo throughout eternity. The true power lies in the ability to understand, for understanding is what transforms darkness into light. The devil, a master of deception, has always relied on illusion, twisting reality to control and manipulate the world. Fear, temptation, and lies have been its tools, and for ages they have brought even the most powerful to their knees. But when it faces you, everything changes. You do not fight the devil with weapons or brute strength. You confront it with understanding, with the unwavering ability to see through its illusions. While the devil thrives on confusion and deception, you bring clarity. Where there is fear, you offer calm. Where there is darkness, you bring light. Your presence alone disrupts the devil's hold. Not because you are engaging in a battle of wills, but because you see things as they truly are. The devil's illusions lose their power in the face of your truth. The lies it has woven, the deceptions it has cast over the world, all begin to unravel when they come into contact with your understanding. You don't fall for its tricks or get ensnared in its webs. You recognize them for what they are: empty shadows, designed to distract and confuse. And when you stand in your truth, those shadows can no longer hide the light that is within you. This is where your true strength lies, not in resistance, but in your presence. You do not need to fight or engage in the devil's games. You simply stand firm in who you are, and in doing so, you expose the flaws in the devil's tactics. It is your clarity, your ability to see beyond the veil of deception, that makes you powerful. The devil, accustomed to twisting reality and manipulating those around it, is powerless against someone who refuses to be deceived. The power of your understanding breaks the chains of its control. In this light, the devil is revealed for what it truly is, nothing more than a collection of lies built on fear and manipulation. And when it stands before you, exposed, it begins to unravel. You see the truth in all things, and this understanding cannot be hidden, no matter how many layers of illusion the devil tries to place over it. Your light shines through the darkness, breaking down the walls the devil has built, and revealing the truth that has always been there. The devil's greatest weapon has always been its ability to deceive. But when you walk in understanding, you turn its weapon into nothing more than a fleeting illusion. And in this understanding, the light you carry cannot be extinguished, no matter how hard the devil tries. Your clarity is a force that the devil cannot match, for in the presence of truth, every lie is revealed. Chosen one, as you stand firm in your truth, remember this: you are not like the others. You were never meant to follow the crowd or shrink in fear, but to rise above, to embrace the power that lies within you. The light you carry cannot be extinguished by darkness, and the truth you embody is a force that will always break through the lies. You are a beacon in a world that often seems lost in shadows, and your presence alone is enough to shift the very fabric of reality. Your strength lies in your authenticity, your unwavering understanding of who you are. The challenges you face, the trials you endure, are not here to break you. They are here to refine you, to shape you into the powerful force of change you were always meant to be. As you continue on your journey, embrace this power within you. Stand tall in your light, knowing that you are not alone. The universe is supporting you every step of the way. And with each step you take, you inspire others to rise, to find their own strength, and to stand in their truth. The world needs you now more than ever, chosen one. I want to take a moment to thank you for being here, for listening, for embracing the light within yourself. If this message has resonated with you, and if you feel called to join this journey of truth and transformation, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. By doing so, you'll never miss an inspiring story or powerful message that could fuel your path toward greatness. Your presence and support help spread these truths further, touching lives all around the world. Thank you for being part of this community. May you continue to walk in strength with your light shining brightly for all to see. You are blessed, you are seen, and you are loved. Keep shining, chosen one. Listen closely. This is not another empty motivation speech. This is your final message before the shift. The world around you is not as it seems, and the forces working against you are not what you've been told. They have lied to you, manipulated you, and spent years poisoning your mind, not because you are weak, but because you are strong beyond measure. They fear what they cannot control, and you, chosen one, are the one thing they have never been able to control. The wolves do not chase the weak, they hunt the strongest. They whisper doubts into your mind, turn your loved ones against you, place obstacles in your path, and make you question your very purpose. Why? Because they know exactly what it is. This is the war for your awakening. This war is not fought with swords, but with distractions, deception, and control over your energy. Every time you hesitate, every time you doubt yourself, every time you let fear stop you, they win. But the moment a chosen one realizes who they are, the enemy loses all power. So I ask you, are you ready to wake up? Or will you remain trapped in their illusion? Because once you see the truth, there is no going back. The greatest deception ever orchestrated was not one of war, politics, or power. It was the lie that the chosen ones were powerless. It was a carefully woven illusion, designed not to defeat you outright, but to keep you blind to what has always been inside you. They knew who you were before you even had a clue, before you ever questioned why life felt different, why you never truly fit in, why betrayals cut deeper than they should. They had already seen you. They recognized the force within you, the kind of power that cannot be bought, imitated, or stolen, and that terrified them. So, they struck early. They placed roadblocks before you could even take your first step. They whispered doubts before you could even form words of confidence. They surrounded you with people who could not see your light, people who doubted you, envied you, and subtly sought to diminish your worth. Every hardship, every moment of self-doubt, every betrayal, it was never just misfortune. It was intentional. The system was never built to nurture the chosen ones. It was built to suppress them before they could awaken. Look at history, and the pattern becomes undeniable. The greatest souls were marked before they ever knew their own destiny. Jesus was hunted before he could even speak. Moses was abandoned before he could walk. Malcolm X was targeted before he could rise. Every chosen one who has ever existed has faced the same script: opposition before realization, isolation before leadership, trials before transformation, because the enemy never waits. They do not strike when you are strong. They come when you are vulnerable, young, and unaware. They do not need to stop a warrior in full power. They only need to make sure you never realize you are one. And yet, despite everything they threw at you, you are still here. Despite the countless moments designed to break you, you have not only survived, but have begun to see through the illusion. The very thing they feared most is happening. You are awakening. And the moment you fully recognize who you are, they lose all control. A lion does not ask for permission to roar, just as a chosen one does not need validation to rise. From the moment you entered this world, you carried something rare, something unexplainable, a power that cannot be taught, borrowed, or imitated. It was placed inside you before birth, woven into your very existence. Yet, from the beginning, the world has worked tirelessly to convince you that you are ordinary. They told you to stay in line, to follow the rules, to suppress the fire inside you. They conditioned you to seek approval, to look to others for validation, to believe that your worth depended on their recognition. But deep down, you have always known the truth. Even in your most uncertain moments, even when doubt wrapped itself around you, something inside refused to be extinguished. Because power like yours cannot be destroyed. It can only be forgotten. Have you ever noticed how the most gifted, insightful, and spiritually powerful people are also the ones who face the greatest struggles? The ones whose lives seem like an endless battle? That is not coincidence. It is by design. They cannot allow you to see what you truly are. So, they distract you. They bury you in self-doubt, in toxic relationships, in never-ending hardships. They drain your energy, break your confidence, and exhaust you until you are too tired to fight for your destiny. Think about it. How many times have you questioned yourself, not because you lacked ability, but because the world made you feel like you weren't enough? How many dreams have you abandoned, not because you didn't believe in them, but because someone else convinced you they were unrealistic? This is their strategy, to keep you lost so that you never step fully into your calling. But now, you are beginning to remember. You are waking up, and they can feel it. The very thing they feared most is happening. You are reclaiming what has always been yours, and once a chosen one rises, there is no force in this world that can bring them back down. When they cannot possess the fire, they seek to extinguish it. They have tried everything, stealing from you, imitating you, even tearing you down, but nothing works. No matter how much they analyze you, study your every move, or attempt to replicate what you have, they will never be you. And that drives them insane. So they did the next best thing. They tricked you into giving it away. They whispered doubts into your mind, making you second-guess yourself at every turn. They surrounded you with people who drained your energy, who made you question your worth, who fed you fear instead of faith. They created distractions, endless cycles of struggle, toxic relationships, and betrayals to keep you too exhausted to fight, too weary to recognize your own power. And the worst part? It almost worked. How many times have you hesitated, not because you weren't capable, but because someone else convinced you that you weren't? How many dreams have you abandoned, not because they were impossible, but because the world told you they were? That was their plan all along, to keep you small, to keep you controlled, to keep you from realizing who you were always meant to be. But here is what they never expected. You survived. Despite every obstacle, every betrayal, every moment designed to break you are still here. And now, something inside you is stirring. The illusions they built around you are beginning to crumble. And the moment you reclaim your power, the game changes forever. Because a chosen one who has awakened is a force that cannot be stopped. The greatest wars are not fought with weapons, armies, or battlefields. They are waged in the mind, in the soul, in the quiet spaces where no one is watching. This war does not need to take your life physically. It only needs to break you mentally and spiritually. If they can control your thoughts, they control your choices. If they can weaken your spirit, they don't need chains to keep you bound. And so they attack in silence. They use the people closest to you, the ones you trust, the ones who should have stood by your side. They plant seeds of doubt, turning friends into enemies, family into sources of pain. Not because those people were always against you, but because they were used as weapons without even realizing it. A careless word, an unkind action, a betrayal when you least expect it. These things are not coincidences. They whisper to you through exhaustion, draining your energy with endless struggles, distractions, and unseen battles. They make you feel like no matter how hard you fight, you will never win. They want you to be weary. They want you questioning. They want you to feel too weak to keep going. Every setback, every heartbreak, every moment where you wanted to give up, it was all carefully placed in your path, designed to break your spirit before you could step into your true power. But here is what they never expected. You got back up. Every time they knocked you down, you refused to stay on the ground. Every time they thought they had finally broken you, you kept moving forward. That is what terrifies them the most. Because a chosen one who refuses to give up is unstoppable. A chosen one who sees the war for what it is, who understands that these attacks were never random, but calculated, can never be manipulated again. And once you see the truth, you can never unsee it. The war may be invisible, but you have felt its weight your entire life. Now, you have a choice. Will you continue to let it control you? Or will you rise knowing that your very existence is proof that you were meant to win? The eagle does not fly in flocks. It soars alone, high above the rest, untouched by the noise of the world below. The higher it ascends, the fewer can follow. And so it is with the chosen ones. You have felt it your entire life, the loneliness, the unshakable sense that you don't quite belong, the quiet understanding that you are different. No matter how much you tried to blend in, to be like everyone else, something within you always refused to conform. That is because you were never meant to fit in. The world does not embrace the chosen. It isolates them. It separates them, forces them into solitude, pushes them into battles that must be fought alone. Not as punishment, but as preparation. Because those who are meant to lead cannot afford to be ordinary. They must be unshakable. Think about the people who have come and gone from your life. The friends who faded away, the ones you thought would always be there, only to watch them disappear when you needed them most. At times, it may have felt like rejection, like abandonment, like an unbearable loneliness. But it was never rejection, it was elevation. Not everyone can walk the same path as you. Not everyone is meant to rise to the level you are called to reach. And so, one by one, they fall away. Not because you were not worthy of love or companionship, but because your journey required separation. So I ask you, will you keep mourning those who left? Will you keep looking back, wondering why they couldn't stay, why they didn't understand you, why they chose to walk away? Or will you accept what has always been true? You were never meant to stay where they are. The right people will come. The ones who truly understand you, who match your energy, who carry their own light instead of feeding off yours. But they will not find you in the places you have outgrown. They will meet you at the next level. Until then, embrace solitude. It is not a curse. It is your preparation. It is in the stillness that you are sharpened, in the silence that you hear your true calling, in the isolation that you become the force you were always meant to be. Because when your time comes, when you finally step into your full power, you will no longer crave belonging. You will understand that you were always meant to stand apart. No more waiting. No more hesitating. No more sitting in the shadows, watching the world unfold before you. waiting for the perfect moment to act. The perfect moment does not exist. The right time is not somewhere in the future. It is right now. For too long, you have been searching for a sign, some undeniable proof that you are meant for more. This is your sign. The very fact that you are here, reading these words, feeling this truth resonate within you, is proof that the time for waiting has passed. The world is growing darker. The distractions are becoming more powerful. The forces working against you are no longer subtle. They are relentless, pushing harder than ever to keep you asleep, lost, and uncertain. They want you trapped in hesitation because hesitation is their greatest weapon. Every moment you delay, every time you question yourself, every excuse you make, it gives them more power over you. But you were not sent here to live in fear. You were not chosen to remain small, to play it safe, to wait for someone else to tell you when it's time. Your destiny has always been waiting for you, but you must be the one to claim it. So I ask you again, will you rise, or will you keep waiting for a moment that will never come? Will you keep making excuses, keep doubting, keep hoping that one day everything will feel ready? Because chosen ones do not wait. They move. They step forward even when they are afraid, even when the path is unclear, even when the world tells them to stop. They rise, not because the timing is perfect, but because they refuse to stay asleep any longer. This is the moment. Your moment. What you do next will change everything. Everything you have been through led you here to this moment, to this message, to this choice. You have been tested. You have been betrayed. You have been pushed to the edge time and time again. Yet, you are still here. That alone should tell you something. You were not meant to be broken. You were not meant to stay small. You were meant to rise. No more excuses. No more hesitation. No more waiting for the world to recognize what you already know in your soul. This is your moment of truth, because the world is about to witness the awakening they never saw coming. And the enemy's greatest fear? You finally realize who you were always meant to be. Thank you for being here, for seeking truth, for embracing the path you were meant to walk. This journey is only beginning. Subscribe now and stay connected, because together we rise. The world is changing, and the chosen ones must stand united. Your awakening starts now. In the shadows of unspoken truths, you stood alone. Your pain was witnessed, yet met with silence, a silence louder than words, an echo of empty promises and averted gazes. Those who should have defended you, those who vowed loyalty, choose comfort over courage. They turned away, retreating to safety while you faced the storm, stripped of allies, left to navigate the darkness on your own. They heard your cries but covered their ears. They knew the truth but sealed their lips. They watched from a distance as you struggled, hoping you would fall. Yet here you are, standing, breathing, victorious. Not because of them, but in spite of them. This triumph is yours and yours alone. Forged in resilience, tempered in solitude, polished by the very tears they pretended not to see. This moment isn't just about overcoming obstacles. It's about becoming someone unshakable. Every step you took without support, every battle you fought alone, every scar you wear with pride, each one is proof that they were never the reason for your success. You were. And now the world that watched you suffer in silence will watch you rise in undeniable power. When God calls you higher, the journey is never easy. Elevation is not a gift handed to you in comfort. It is a transformation that comes through fire. You may have wondered why you faced seasons of isolation, why familiar hands withdrew, why the very people you trusted seemed to disappear when you needed them most. But this was not rejection. It was divine selection. The first thing God does when He chooses you is separate you to protect you. That isolation you felt, it wasn't punishment. It wasn't abandonment. It was a shield. You were not left alone. You were pulled away from those who would have drained your energy, sabotaged your destiny, or diluted your purpose. There were people in your life who could not go where you were meant to go. People whose presence was a silent weight on your spirit. You may not have understood it then, but God saw what you couldn't. He saw the conversations that took place behind closed doors. He saw the silent envy in their hearts. He saw the betrayals before they happened. And in His mercy, He removed you before their presence could do irreversible damage. Next, He strips away human reliance to strengthen your faith. Every support system you once leaned on seemed to vanish. Every person you thought you could count on disappeared, and you were left standing in what felt like emptiness. But this was not by accident. It was preparation. He needed you to learn that your true source of strength was never in people, never in connections, never in external validation. It was in Him. You had to be stripped of every crutch so that you would learn to lean solely on divine provision. In your darkest hours, when no human hand reached out to steady you, you discovered a power beyond yourself, a wisdom no classroom could teach. You learned that the only foundation that could not be shaken was the one built on faith. And then He reveals your true identity. You are not ordinary. You were never meant to fit in, never meant to blend into the background. You are among the 144,000 chosen ones, not marked for ease but for transformation, not selected for comfort, but for impact. This is why the shift within you has been undeniable. The way you see the world has changed. The way you move through life has changed. And whether they admit it or not, the people around you feel it too. Have you noticed how people seem uneasy in your presence now? How does their energy shift when you walk into a room? It is not your imagination. It is spiritual reality. They sense something they cannot name, an authority upon you that they do not understand. Your existence forces them to confront their own weaknesses. Your resilience is a mirror in which they see their own compromises. Your strength exposes their stagnation, and that is why they distance themselves. But their discomfort is not your burden to carry. Their intimidation is not your failure. It is confirmation of your elevation. You were not chosen to be accepted. You were chosen to stand apart, to break cycles, to shift atmospheres, to carry something so powerful that it could not be entrusted to just anyone. And now, as you step into your true calling, understand this. The separation was necessary. The stripping away was preparation. And the power you now carry is evidence that you have been set apart for something greater. The betrayal that shook you, the one you never saw coming, was never an accident. It was always meant to happen. Not as a punishment, but as a revelation. It was written into the story of your elevation long before it unfolded in your life. You may have questioned why it had to hurt so deeply, why those you trusted the most turned against you. But the truth is, their betrayal was never about you. It was about them. Think back to the moments of unease, the quiet warnings, the subtle instincts you brushed aside, that lingering discomfort you once dismissed as paranoia. It wasn't your mind playing tricks on you. It was divine foresight. God was whispering, preparing you for what your heart wasn't yet ready to accept. You felt the energy shift long before the masks finally fell. You saw glimpses of their true nature, but you wanted to believe otherwise. You gave them grace. You justified their actions. You held on to the illusion that they cared as deeply as you did. But the same people who smiled the widest in your presence were the ones crafting your downfall behind closed doors. The hands that reached out in support were the same hands digging pits along your path. Some betrayed you out of jealousy, others out of fear. Your growth made their stagnation unbearable. Your authenticity exposed the deception they had carefully constructed. Your light made their shadows impossible to ignore. And so, they turned against you, not because you did anything wrong, but because your very existence was a threat to the lies they lived. And for some, their betrayal went beyond whispers and deceit. Money changed hands. There were conversations you weren't privy to, deals made at your expense. Your reputation was deliberately targeted. Opportunities were blocked before you even knew they existed. This was not casual disloyalty, it was calculated, planned, coordinated. They didn't just hope you would fall, They actively worked to make it happen. But what they failed to understand is what is divinely ordained can never be humanly obstructed. They were stopping you, but they were strengthening you. Their rejection would break you, but it clarified your direction. Every scheme they plotted only positioned you for something greater. Every loss they orchestrated became fuel for your elevation. Their betrayal did not destroy you. It defined you. And now, as they watch from the sidelines, their jealousy-fueled schemes are unraveling. The alliances they built on deception are crumbling beneath them. The very traps they set for you are now catching their own feet. Because that is the law of the universe. What they sowed, they will reap. As for you, you will walk into a season of divine vindication, not by seeking revenge, not by proving them wrong, but by rising so high that their betrayal becomes irrelevant. What was meant to break you has only built you. What was designed to silence you has only amplified your voice. And what was the end of your story was merely the beginning of a chapter they were never meant to be part of. Few will ever understand the depth of what you've endured. To most, your struggles seemed like ordinary obstacles, just another set of challenges that everyone faces in life. But you know the truth. This was never just about hardship. It was about opposition. It was about forces that deliberately worked against you, people who moved in silence, plotting ways to keep you from rising. They didn't just resist you. They organized against you. There were conversations held in secret, alliances formed behind your back, deliberate attempts to suppress your voice. Every time you tried to step forward, there was resistance, too consistent, too calculated to be mere coincidence. Doors closed without reason. Opportunities disappeared before you even knew they existed. People turned on you for no logical explanation. You weren't imagining it. The moment you began walking in your true purpose, the opposition intensified. But tell me, what weapon can prosper against someone divinely shielded? What scheme can succeed against someone celestially supported? Not a single one. They underestimated the power that was backing you. They moved in secrecy, thinking their schemes would go unnoticed. They thought their numbers, their influence, their strategies would be enough to stop you. But what they failed to realize is that you were never standing alone. The same power that spoke the universe into existence is the same power that has been working on your behalf. The same God who parted the seas, who shut the mouths of lions, who raised the dead, He is the one standing behind you. They weren't just fighting against you. They were fighting against divine will. And no force, no strategy, no earthly alliance can stand against what God has ordained. And now, the tables are turning. The narrative is shifting. The storm is breaking. Everything they would destroy you has only refined you. Every attempt to silence you has only made your voice stronger. Every obstacle they placed in your way has become a stepping stone for your ascension. They spent so much time crafting your downfall that they never prepared for the possibility of your rise. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, still rising. And now, as they watch in disbelief, they will come to understand what they refused to acknowledge all along. You were never meant to be defeated. The very moment they would be your destruction has become the platform for your breakthrough. What was meant to bury you has instead planted you, and now you are growing beyond their reach. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to seek revenge. Just keep rising. Because their resistance was never greater than God's protection. Their plans were never stronger than His purpose. And their schemes? They were never enough to stop what was already divinely written. They had taken something from you. They thought they had stripped you of what was rightfully yours and left you with nothing. But what they failed to understand is that the universe, under divine order, keeps perfect accounts. Nothing that was unjustly taken from you is ever truly lost. Nothing that was stolen will remain in the hands of those who took it. What was removed from your life, whether by force or deception, was never beyond God's reach. He saw the betrayals, the sabotage, the unfair losses. He witnessed every tear, every moment of despair when you thought you had been robbed of something you could never recover. And yet, what you thought was taken permanently is already on its way back to you, not just returned, but multiplied beyond measure. That opportunity that slipped through your fingers, it will come back tenfold. The job, the position, the dream you thought had been stolen from you, it was never truly gone. It was simply being realigned to return to you in a way that exceeds what you originally imagined. God does not restore in equal measure. He restores in overflow. That relationship that ended, the one you thought was destined to last, the one you mourned for longer than you should have. It was never meant to carry the weight of your destiny. If it had stayed, it would have hindered your growth. If they had remained, they would have become a limitation rather than a blessing. God does not remove people from your life without reason. If they walked away, if they betrayed you, if the bond dissolved, it was because He saw something you couldn't, and what He has prepared for you in the future will make you realize why that chapter had to close. That door that shut so abruptly, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. You may have questioned why certain paths were blocked, why you faced so many obstacles, why no matter how hard you pushed, nothing seemed to work. But what if I told you that God was not keeping something from you, but preparing something for you? The delay was divine. The redirection was intentional. The setback was never a denial. It was a setup for something greater. But what they didn't realize is that in trying to steal from you, they only sealed their own fate. What they thought was your loss has become your gain. What they meant for harm has become fuel for your rise. This is not the end. This is the beginning. A new season is unfolding before you, one where restoration comes not in equal measure, but in abundance. One where what was stolen is returned in ways that leave no doubt about divine intervention. One where every tear you cried becomes the foundation for a future so great, it will silence every voice that ever doubted you. Keep moving forward, because what is meant for you can never truly be lost. It is simply waiting to return, multiplied, magnified, and more powerful than before. Listen carefully. You must forgive, not for them, not because they deserve it, not because what they did was excusable. You must forgive because you deserve to be free. Holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy chain, one that keeps you tethered to the very people who sought to harm you. The longer you hold on, the more they remain connected to your spirit. Their actions may be in the past, but as long as you keep replaying the pain, their influence lingers in your present. Unforgiveness is not a punishment for them. It is a prison for you. But here's the truth. You were never meant to be bound by pain. Forgiveness does not mean excusing what they did. It does not mean pretending that it didn't hurt. It does not mean giving them another place in your life. It means cutting the cord. It means reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your future. Because as long as bitterness remains, it poisons everything it touches. It clouds your vision. It steals your joy. It keeps you from fully embracing what is ahead. But when you forgive, you take back your power. You are not erasing the past. You are choosing to stop letting it define you. You are not letting them off the hook. You are simply refusing to let their actions control your emotions any longer. They will answer for what they've done. The universe will balance the scales. Justice will come in its own time, in its own way. That is not your burden to carry. Your only task is to move forward. And moving forward means leaving their weight behind. It means walking into your future without dragging the chains of yesterday. It means choosing healing over hatred, peace over pain, and freedom over the illusion of control. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to them. It is a gift you give to yourself. So let it go because you do. Let it rise, not in arrogance, but in assurance. Rise, not in vengeance, but in vision. Rise, not in bitterness, but in boldness. Because the world is waiting, and you have work to do. Thank you for watching until the very end. Your journey is just beginning, and we're walking it together. If this message spoke to you, like this video, subscribe, and join this growing community of warriors. Let's rise together, stronger, bolder, and unstoppable. See you in the next one. Imagine waking up one day to realize that everything you've ever endured, every hardship, every tear, every lonely moment, has been preparing you for this very moment. It's not just another day on the calendar, it's the day your life changes forever. A day that has been written in the stars, foretold by the ancient prophets, and woven into the very fabric of your being. That day is March 31st. This day is not just an ordinary date. It is a divine threshold, a cosmic event that will either propel you into your destiny or leave you trapped in the same cycles of doubt and uncertainty. The veil between heaven and earth is growing thinner, and the divine energies of the universe are stirring. Can you feel it? That restlessness deep within you, that unexplainable knowing that something monumental is about to unfold? The world has tried to silence you, doubt you, reject you, but March 31st is the day the world will see the truth. The day your enemies, those who mocked and abandoned you, will witness your supernatural elevation. When God's hand moves, nothing can stand in its way. If you are feeling this message in your spirit right now, let's subscribe and comment 777 to know this. You have been called for such a time as this. The journey of the chosen ones is rarely an easy one. In fact, it is often marked by struggles, rejection, and battles that may seem impossible to understand, even by those closest to you. If you have ever found yourself feeling alone, misunderstood, or as though the weight of the world is against you, you are not alone. Throughout history, the chosen ones have walked a path that the world often cannot comprehend. This path is not paved with comfort or ease, but with moments of hardship and isolation. From the time of Moses, who was raised in exile and called to lead a nation from slavery, to David, who was overlooked by his own family and forced to fight battles no one expected him to win, the stories of God's chosen vessels throughout the Bible have one common theme. The road to greatness is not an easy one. But within this journey of struggle lies divine purpose. The chosen ones have been called not in spite of their struggles, but because of them. Each trial, each setback, and each moment of rejection has been part of a greater divine plan. The pain, isolation, and loss that you may have experienced were never meant to break you. They were the very things that were shaping you, preparing you for the divine appointments that are about to unfold in your life. In the wilderness, where you may have felt abandoned or overlooked, God was quietly working in the background, molding you into the person you needed to become. The trials that seemed unbearable were actually the tools God was using to refine you, to strengthen your faith, and to prepare you for what was to come. The path of the chosen ones is often one of loneliness, like Moses, who spent years in exile before returning to lead the Israelites, or David, who was anointed as king but spent years in the wilderness fleeing from Saul. You too may have found yourself in seasons of loneliness and isolation. These seasons were not signs of abandonment, nor were they a reflection of your worth or value. They were simply the preparation God was using to get you ready for your appointed time. The Bible makes it clear that God's chosen ones are often called to a higher purpose, but this higher purpose comes at a cost. The path to greatness is never smooth, but it is always purposeful. The chosen ones are not those who are born into comfort or ease. Rather, they are those who have faced trials and have come out stronger on the other side. Think about Esther, who was not chosen by chance, but was divinely positioned for such a time as this. Esther's journey began in a season of exile and hardship, yet God orchestrated every detail of her life to position her for the pivotal moment when she would save her people from destruction. Esther's beauty and favor were not just a result of her appearance, they were the tools God used to position her in the palace, where she would have the opportunity to stand in the gap for her nation. Her calling was not an accident. She was prepared through trials, through moments of uncertainty, and through seasons of waiting. Just as Esther was placed for her purpose, you too have been positioned for such a time as this. Your life has not been a series of random events. It has been a divinely orchestrated journey, leading you to this very moment. If you look closely at your life, you will see that it is marked with moments of divine intervention, moments when you were guided toward people, places, and opportunities that you could never have anticipated. These are the divine appointments that God has set in motion for you long before you were born. Whether it was a chance encounter with someone who changed your life, a dream that led you down a new path, or a sudden moment of clarity that unlocked the answers to questions you've been asking for years. These divine encounters are not coincidences. They are signs that you are walking the path that God has planned for you. Just like Esther, who stepped into her calling at just the right time, so too will you step into the purpose God has written for you. It's time for the chosen ones to rise, to walk into their destiny, and to fulfill the divine calling that has been upon their lives since the beginning of time. The trials you faced were never meant to defeat you. They were meant to prepare you. Your losses, your moments of grief, your seasons of waiting, all of these have been part of the divine shaping process. God has been preparing you to carry out the work that He has called you to do. You may have asked why things didn't happen the way you expected, or why your journey has been marked with so many difficulties. But understand this: it is not the absence of struggle that prepares you. It is the way you rise through it. Each obstacle, each challenge, has been God's way of refining you, strengthening you, and making you ready for the purpose that lies ahead. In the Bible, we see time and time again that the greatest leaders, the most powerful vessels of God's work, were not chosen because of their comfort, but because of their perseverance through trials. Consider Joseph, who, before ever standing before Pharaoh, was thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for years. His dreams of greatness seemed to be cruel jokes, mocked by the very people who should have supported him. Yet all of his suffering was part of the process that prepared him to become the second in command in Egypt, where he would save his family and his nation from famine. Joseph was refined through hardship, and his calling was fulfilled because he chose to rise above his circumstances and trust in God's plan for his life. Like Joseph, you may have endured seasons of hardship, betrayal, and pain, but these experiences have not been for nothing. They have been the furnace in which your purpose has been forged. The wilderness is not meant to break you, it is meant to build you. Like gold that is refined in the fire, your character has been shaped and purified by the trials you've faced. Your perseverance through these challenges has made you ready to rise and walk into the calling that God has for you. The path of the chosen ones is one of endurance. It is not about avoiding hardship, but about trusting that through every trial, God is with you, refining you, and preparing you for the work ahead. The time has come for the chosen ones to rise. Your divine purpose has been set in motion. The experiences you have lived, the pain you have endured, and the moments of doubt you have faced have all led you to this moment in time. It is time to step into the divine calling that has always been yours. You are not meant to fit in with the ordinary. You are called to stand out, to be a light in the darkness, to bring solutions to the world's greatest problems, and to lead others to the truth of God's love and power. So, if you have felt abandoned, isolated, or rejected, remember this: your trials are not the end of your story. They are the preparation for your greatest breakthrough. Your calling is not on hold. It is being prepared. And it is time for you to rise and step into your divine purpose. The path of the chosen ones is one of struggle, yes, but it is also one of glory, of purpose, and of ultimate victory. It is time to walk boldly into the destiny that has been written for you from the very beginning. As the date of March 31st draws near, something extraordinary is beginning to unfold, one that will reverberate throughout the lives of those who are spiritually awake. For many, March 31st will seem like just another day on the calendar, another fleeting moment in the endless march of time. Yet for the chosen ones, those whose hearts have been attuned to the whispers of heaven, March 31st marks something far more significant. It is not just a simple day. It is a divine moment, a cosmic alignment that will change the course of their lives forever. On this day, heaven and earth will converge in a way that has been divinely orchestrated long before the beginning of time. It is a day when the spiritual realms will be in perfect alignment with the physical world, creating a moment of profound opportunity for those who are ready to embrace it. Those who have walked through seasons of struggle, confusion, and isolation will find that the doors that have remained locked for years will suddenly swing wide open. Promises that have laid dormant, forgotten in the depths of your soul, will come alive with unprecedented clarity and purpose. What once seemed like an impossible dream will transform into a tangible reality, and long-awaited blessings will begin to pour into your life. Divine connections, those relationships and appointments that were preordained before you were born, will manifest at exactly the right time. It will feel as though the universe itself has aligned to bring you the opportunities and breakthroughs you need to step into the calling you were always destined to fulfill. However, despite the incredible blessings and revelations that are set to unfold on March 31st, there is one crucial factor that will determine whether or not you are able to fully experience this divine moment. That factor is preparation. The key to unlocking the full potential of this divine appointment lies in how ready you are to receive it. For many, the arrival of March 31st will be a moment of spiritual separation, a defining line between those who are spiritually awake and those who remain trapped in darkness, oblivious to the sacred opportunity right in front of them. Will you be among those who recognize the significance of this day and step boldly into your divine destiny? Or will you remain spiritually asleep, missing the extraordinary moment that God has set before you? The choice is yours. This day will act as a test, a challenge to the readiness of your heart and spirit. It will be a line drawn in the sand that will separate the prepared from the unprepared. For those who have been spiritually diligent, those who have cultivated a heart of obedience and discernment, March 31st will bring a supernatural acceleration in their lives. You will experience breakthroughs, revelations, and an awakening that will propel you into the next phase of your divine journey. But for those who have neglected their spiritual preparation, who have allowed the distractions and noise of the world to cloud their vision, March 31st may pass by unnoticed. It may be just another day, another ordinary moment in the stream of time. But for the chosen ones, the ones who have been watching, waiting, and listening for the call of God, this date will mark the beginning of a new season of favor, purpose, and divine fulfillment. The signs that this moment is approaching are already here. If you have been paying attention, you may have noticed certain patterns appearing in your life, repeated numbers, strange synchronicities, vivid dreams, or moments of sudden clarity that seem to come from nowhere. These are not coincidences. These are God's whispers, gently guiding you toward the breakthrough that is about to unfold. They are divine signals, preparing you for what is coming, preparing you for the day when heaven touches earth in a way that will change your destiny. These signs are not random. They are pieces of a divine puzzle, leading you toward your moment of activation. Numbers like 111, 333, 555, and 777 may appear frequently in your life, and you may wonder what they mean. These are not just numbers, they are divine markers, each one holding a specific meaning and significance. They are reminders that the universe is aligning to bring you into your divine purpose. When you see these numbers, understand that God is speaking to you. He is telling you that something monumental is about to happen. He is opening the doors that have long been shut, and He is preparing you to step into the destiny that you were always meant to fulfill. These signs, whether they appear in the form of numbers, dreams, or encounters with people, are the way God communicates with those who are spiritually sensitive. They are His way of confirming that you are on the right path, that the time for your breakthrough is drawing near. And yet, even with these divine signs, the real question remains: will you be ready? The world is full of distractions, and it is easy to become so absorbed in the busyness of life that we miss the divine moments that God is setting before us. But God is calling you to wake up, to rise above the distractions of the world, and to see the truth that is unfolding around you. He is calling you to align yourself with His will, to tune out the noise, and to listen for His voice. March 31st will not be an ordinary day, but the key to experiencing its power lies in your ability to perceive the significance of the moment. The spiritual atmosphere is shifting, and those who are spiritually awake will feel it. You may have already begun to notice that your energy is changing. You may feel an increasing sense of urgency in your spirit, a growing awareness that something significant is approaching. This is not anxiety, it is divine anticipation. Your spirit recognizes that the veil between the physical and spiritual realms is thinning, and the time for your breakthrough is drawing near. But you must be prepared. You must position yourself to receive the abundant blessings and opportunities that are about to manifest. This means making time to tune in to the whispers of God, to spend time in prayer and meditation, to open your heart to His guidance. It means being intentional with your time, your energy, and your focus. When you are spiritually prepared, you will recognize the significance of March 31st as it arrives, and you will be ready to step into your divine calling without hesitation. Heaven is waiting for your response. The universe is aligning to bring you exactly what you need to fulfill your divine purpose. But God will not force His will upon you. He will not force you to step into your destiny. You must choose to respond. You must choose to rise above the distractions, to awaken your spirit, and to take action. March 31st is a moment of divine opportunity, but only those who are prepared will fully experience its power. Heaven is waiting for you to step forward, to claim your divine appointment, and to embrace the transformation that is coming. Will you be ready when the moment arrives? The time for hesitation is over. The time to step into your divine destiny is now. March 31st is a day like no other. It is a divine invitation, a moment that has been planned long before you were born. The question is, will you recognize it for what it is? Will you open your heart to the divine timing that is unfolding? Will you step boldly into your calling and take hold of the breakthrough that God has prepared for you? The signs are here, the opportunity is before you, and the time to act is now. Heaven is waiting for you to take that step. It is time to embrace your calling and walk boldly into the purpose that God has designed for you from the foundation of the world. As you stand on the threshold of this new season, remember, the enemy will try to distract you, to make you doubt, to make you feel unworthy. But you were chosen before time began, and March 31st is the moment when you will rise, unshaken, into the fullness of your destiny. This is your divine awakening, your moment of transformation. The time to act is now. Step forward, for the kingdom of heaven is waiting for you. Dear Chosen One, if you are watching this, it is not by chance. You have been led here, guided by a force greater than yourself, because your life is about to change in ways you never imagined. The struggles, the sleepless nights, the unanswered prayers, all of it has been preparing you for this very moment. You are on the brink of a divine transformation where you will step into unlimited abundance, prosperity, and joy. God is calling His chosen ones to rise, to leave behind limitations, and to embrace a destiny far greater than they ever dreamed possible. You have worked tirelessly, yet something inside you whispers that you were meant for more. That whisper is not your imagination. It is God's voice telling you, it is time. Today, I bring you a message of faith, transformation, and supernatural provision. You are about to step into a millionaire destiny, not through endless toil, but through divine favor. Your struggles are ending, and your breakthrough is beginning. So, open your heart, clear your mind, and prepare yourself, because your life will never be the same after this. For far too long, you have found yourself caught in a cycle of working tirelessly with little to show for it. You have given your time, energy, and passion to jobs that fail to recognize your worth, draining your spirit rather than fulfilling your purpose. You have watched others rise to success while you remain stuck, wondering if your breakthrough will ever come. Society has taught you that financial security is only achieved through relentless effort. that wealth is reserved for the select few who sacrifice everything to attain it. But let me tell you something. This is not the life you are meant to live. God did not place you on this earth merely to struggle, to work endlessly just to make ends meet, and to live a life of limitation. You were created for something greater. You are not here to be overlooked, undervalued, or bound by financial hardship. Your purpose is not to serve those who fail to see your value. Your purpose is to lead, to create, and to prosper. That deep desire within you for more freedom, more abundance, more impact, is not greed. It is God's calling, reminding you that you were made for a life beyond struggle. Now is the time to break free. Break free from the chains of financial hardship that have kept you trapped. Free yourself from the jobs that deplete your soul and keep you from stepping into your true calling. Free yourself from the belief that wealth and success belong to others, but not to you. You are just as worthy of abundance as anyone else. The struggle is not your destiny, prosperity is. The world may tell you that success only comes through backbreaking labor and endless sacrifice. But God's plan is different. His favor does not come through exhaustion, it comes through faith. When God chooses to bless you, no man, no system, and no circumstance can stand in the way. The shift in your life is already in motion. Your breakthrough is coming, and when it arrives, nothing will be able to stop it. So, lift your head high. You were never meant to settle. You were never meant to live in lack. God has already written abundance into your story. Now, all that is left is for you to step forward in faith and claim the life He has been preparing for you. The struggle ends here. Your time is now. Imagine waking up each day knowing that money is no longer a source of stress. Imagine a life where your bank account is overflowing, where your dreams are no longer distant possibilities but tangible realities, and where your heart is at peace, knowing that you are fully provided for. This is not just wishful thinking. This is your destiny. The financial transformation that is coming to you is not an ordinary change. It is not just an increase in your paycheck, a sudden promotion, or a lucky break. This is a divine shift. The windows of heaven are opening, and God is preparing to pour out blessings so great that you will not have room to contain them. This is not wealth that comes through struggle or mere human effort. This is supernatural provision, flowing effortlessly into your life beyond anything you have ever imagined. What this abundance looks like in your life, a financial overflow. The days of living paycheck to paycheck are over. You will have more than enough to provide for yourself, more than enough to bless others, and more than enough to live without financial worry. Opportunities knocking at your door. The right doors will open for you at the right time. You won't have to force success. It will come to you naturally. The right career moves, the best investments, and the most profitable ventures will align in your favor. Divine connections. God will place people in your life who will help you rise higher. Mentors, business partners, and influential individuals will be drawn to you, guiding you toward greater wealth and success. An elevated lifestyle. No more settling for less than you deserve. You will live in abundance, comfort, and joy. Your home, your environment, and your experiences will reflect the blessings God has poured into your life. And here is the most powerful truth. When God blesses you, it is not temporary. This wealth will not come and go like fleeting riches. It will be permanent, limitless, and generational. The abundance He is about to release into your life is not just for you. It is meant to bless your family, uplift your community, and leave a lasting impact for generations to come. There may have been moments when you felt forgotten, when you cried out to God wondering if He even heard you. He did. Every tear, every hardship, every rejection, none of it went unnoticed. The silent battles you fought, the sacrifices you made, and the nights you spent wondering when your breakthrough would come were never in vain. God has seen it all, and through it, He has been preparing something far greater than you could ever imagine. For too long you have been overlooked, underestimated, and dismissed. You have watched as others moved ahead while you remained stuck, wondering if your time would ever come. But the tables are turning. Those who once doubted you will soon be astonished by the heights you will reach. The people who ignored your potential will witness your rise, not because of mere luck, but because of God's divine plan unfolding in your life. God is about to silence your critics, not with words, but with undeniable success. Your journey, the struggles, the setbacks, the disappointments will become a powerful testimony of what is possible when faith aligns with divine timing. Your story will inspire many, proving that no hardship is permanent and that God's promises always come to pass. What this transformation means for you. The people who once dismissed you will now seek your wisdom and guidance. Those who mocked your struggles will admire your success. The pain, frustration, and rejection of the past will be replaced with overwhelming joy and victory. You will no longer chase after money. Money will chase after you. The financial breakthrough you are stepping into will not only transform your personal circumstances, but will also serve as a public testament to God's power. You will be a living example of what happens when faith is unshakable, when patience is unwavering, and when God's favor is upon a person's life. Your struggles were never meant to break you. They were meant to build you into the person who is now ready to receive an overflow of blessings. Get ready. Your testimony is about to change lives. Faith is the key that unlocks the doors to supernatural abundance. It is not enough to hope for prosperity. You must believe it is already yours. If you truly know that God has chosen you for wealth and success, then it is time to start acting like it. Walk in confidence, speak in faith, and live in expectation. Do not let fear hold you back. Do not allow doubt to creep in and make you question whether you are worthy of the blessings that are coming your way. You are. The only thing standing between you and your breakthrough is your belief in it. So, stop hesitating. Stop shrinking back. Declare boldly, "My time has come." God's blessings are already flowing towards you. Your only job is to receive. The resources, opportunities, and connections that will elevate you to the next level are already aligning in your favor. You do not need to chase after them anxiously. Instead, trust that they are on their way. Stop worrying about how it will happen. Trust that it will. Stop doubting whether you deserve it. You do. Stop waiting for permission. God has already given it. When you shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance, everything around you begins to change. The universe responds to what you believe and expect. If you expect struggle, struggle will come. But if you expect prosperity, if you truly believe that financial success is yours, then money, opportunities, and success will flow into your life effortlessly. Faith is not passive, it is powerful. It does not wait for evidence, it creates the evidence. When you trust fully in God's plan, you remove every barrier standing between you and your destiny. The doors are already open, the blessings are already moving. Now is the time to step forward and claim what is rightfully yours. Your millionaire transformation is already in motion. The shift has begun, and doors are opening in ways you cannot yet see. Now, your responsibility is to prepare yourself to receive the wealth that is coming. Many people pray for abundance but remain stuck in a mindset of scarcity, unknowingly blocking the very blessings they desire. You must align yourself mentally, spiritually, and practically with the overflow that is on its way. Aligning with wealth begins with a shift in mindset. Instead of seeing yourself as someone waiting for financial breakthrough, start thinking and acting like someone who already possesses abundance. Wealth is not merely a distant hope. It is something you expect, claim, and walk in daily. By envisioning yourself as financially free, living in abundance, and making an impact, you align your thoughts with the reality of prosperity. Your words play a crucial role in shaping your financial future. What you declare over your life determines what manifests. Every day, speak prosperity into existence. I am chosen for abundance. Money flows to me effortlessly. God's blessings are chasing me down. When you affirm wealth, you activate it. Speak as if it is already yours. because in the spiritual realm, it is. However, true abundance requires releasing scarcity thinking. Fear of losing money, hesitation to invest, or reluctance to take bold steps can keep you trapped in lack. Wealth is not limited, nor is God's provision ever exhausted. The more you give freely, invest wisely, and take courageous action, the more you open yourself to financial overflow. Operating with an abundance mindset invites prosperity to flow effortlessly into your life. Equally important is being ready to receive. Financial breakthroughs often come suddenly, but if you are not prepared, you may hesitate and miss them. Stay open, stay aware, and step into new opportunities without fear. The blessing you have been praying for could arrive at any moment. Be in position to embrace it. Above all, stay in faith. Even when circumstances seem uncertain, trust that God is working behind the scenes. Delays are not denials, they are divine alignments, preparing you for something greater. Patience and unwavering belief in the promise of abundance will attract the wealth you seek. What you expect is what you will receive, so expect greatness, walk boldly in faith, and claim the prosperity that is already yours. Expect wealth, expect success, expect miracles. Your financial breakthrough is not a matter of if, but when, and when it comes, you will be ready to receive it. Your millionaire destiny is waiting. Step into it with confidence. The wealth that is coming into your life is not just for personal gain, it is a divine assignment. God is not only blessing you with financial abundance, He is entrusting you with a greater purpose. This wealth is meant to flow through you, not just to you. It is a tool to create change, uplift others, and leave a legacy that extends far beyond your lifetime. Your financial breakthrough is not just about comfort and luxury, it is about impact. With this wealth, you will have the ability to help those in need, to be a source of provision for those who are struggling. You will be able to support causes that matter, investing in ministries, charities, and initiatives that bring light and hope into the world. You will create opportunities for others, opening doors for those who never had the resources or the guidance to reach their potential. And above all, you will leave a lasting legacy, one that will inspire and bless generations to come. This is bigger than money. It is about stepping fully into your divine calling. The wealth you receive is not just about what you can acquire, but about what you can give, build, and transform. True prosperity is not measured by how much you keep, but by how much you are able to bless others. So as you prepare for the financial overflow that is coming, remember the purpose behind it. You are not just being elevated, you are being positioned to elevate others. Walk boldly in this new season, knowing that your abundance is a divine tool to make a lasting difference in the world. Chosen one, your life is about to change forever. The struggle is ending. The breakthrough is here. The wealth is flowing. You are stepping into a life of abundance, power, and supernatural provision. Do not fear it. Do not resist it. Do not delay it. Receive it. Walk in it. Own it. This is your season of overflow. The world is about to see what happens when a chosen one steps into their divine destiny. Your journey is just beginning, and the best is yet to come. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you never miss these life-changing messages. Together, we will continue unveiling the deeper truths that God has for His chosen ones. May His guidance, favor, and wisdom be with you always. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to rise. They laughed at you. They whispered behind your back. They called you foolish for believing in true love. They watched your loneliness and mocked it, as if being alone meant being unworthy. They thought rejection would crush you, that heartbreak would leave you broken beyond repair. They sneered at your faith, dismissing it as childish, naive, a hopeless dream. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't possibly see, was that while they were laughing, heaven was working. While they ridicule you, God was preparing something beyond their comprehension. Every tear you cried, every lonely night, every silent prayer, it was not for nothing. It was all leading you to a divinely ordained love, one that is deeper, stronger, and more unshakable than anything they have ever known. Your true love is coming, and this time it's different. This love isn't just a fleeting emotion or a temporary infatuation. It is a divine appointment, a love that carries heaven's seal. The very love they said didn't exist for you is already written in the heavens, waiting for its appointed time. So, let them laugh, let them doubt, let them mock. Because when God moves, the laughter will stop. Rejection is one of the deepest wounds a heart can endure. It cuts in ways that words cannot fully capture, leaving behind invisible scars that whisper doubts into your soul. There were moments when you sat in silence, wrestling with questions that seemed to have no answers. God, why? Why does love always seem just out of reach? Why am I always the one left behind? You replayed the scenes in your mind, the people who walked away, the doors that closed before you could even step through, the painful reminders that what you longed for was not yet yours. It felt personal. It felt final. But here is what you must understand. Rejection was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to redirect you. It wasn't a sign of your unworthiness, nor was it proof that you were unloved. Instead, it was a divine intervention, God's way of protecting you from settling for something less than His best. Every no you received was never an absence of love, but rather a safeguard from the wrong love. Every heartbreak was not a punishment, but a preparation for something greater. Consider Joseph, a young man full of dreams, sold into slavery by his own brothers, betrayed, abandoned, discarded. To them, it was the end of his story, but to God, it was just the beginning. The very path that others meant for his downfall became the stepping stone to his destiny. What they intended for evil, God transformed into a position of power and influence. What if Joseph had never been sold? What if he had never faced rejection? He would have never walked into his God-ordained purpose. Think about Hannah, a woman who knew the sting of rejection all too well. She was mocked and ridiculed for her barrenness, treated as if she had no worth. The whispers of those around her must have been deafening, their sneers a constant reminder of what she lacked. But in her brokenness, she turned to God, pouring out her soul before Him. And in His perfect timing, He gave her Samuel, a child who would grow into a mighty prophet. Had she not endured the waiting, the heartbreak, and the rejection, she may have never birthed the man who would anoint kings. And then there was Noah, a man who spent years building an ark when there was no sign of rain. The people around him laughed, calling him foolish. They mocked his obedience, dismissed his faith, and saw his unwavering trust in God as ridiculous. But when the flood came, Noah stood secure, while the world was washed away. His rejection by man positioned him for preservation by God. Now look at yourself. Every rejection you have faced was not the end of your story. It was merely a chapter in God's greater plan. He saw the hidden betrayals, the unspoken intentions, the silent wounds that you couldn't perceive, and in His infinite wisdom, He intervened not to hurt you, but to shield you. What felt like abandonment was actually divine alignment. The doors that closed were never meant for you. The people who left were never meant to stay. And the love that has not yet arrived is simply being prepared in God's perfect timing. You were never being denied. You were being redirected. And when God finally opens the right door, you will understand why every closed one was necessary. The world has a habit of overlooking treasures while they are still being formed. A diamond in its raw state looks like nothing more than an ordinary rock, dull, unremarkable, unworthy of attention. But to a skilled jeweler, it holds immeasurable value, waiting to be refined and revealed. You are that diamond. For years, they dismissed you. They told you that you were too much, or perhaps not enough. Too soft, too strong, too quiet, too bold. They convinced you that love was something others received, but not you. Maybe you started to believe it, that somehow you were destined to be overlooked, that your heart was too big, your standards too high, your dreams too impossible. But the rejection of men has no power over the approval of God. Look at David, the forgotten son. When the prophet Samuel came to anoint the next king of Israel, David's own father didn't even bother to present him. Instead, Jesse paraded his older, stronger, more impressive-looking sons before Samuel, assuming that surely one of them was the chosen one. But God had already made his decision. Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. David was overlooked by men but handpicked by God. His own family failed to recognize his worth, yet he was the one God called to be king. Look at Jesus, the Son of God. He was despised and rejected, mocked and ridiculed by the very people he came to save. They spat at him, accused him, and cast him aside, believing he was nothing more than an ordinary man, unworthy of honor. But their rejection did not change his identity. It fulfilled his destiny. Had they not despised him, had they not crucified him, the greatest act of love, the redemption of humanity, would never have been completed. You were never meant to fit in with those who couldn't see your worth. They didn't recognize you because they weren't meant to. They didn't cherish you because they weren't assigned to your destiny. Their rejection was not a reflection of your value. It was proof of their inability to see it. You are a masterpiece in progress, being shaped by the hands of the Creator. And when the right person enters your life, they will see you, not as something to be discarded, but as something to be cherished. The love that is coming will honor you the way you deserve. No more begging to be seen. No more wondering if you're enough. No more questioning if love is meant for you. Because it is. And when it arrives, you will understand why those who failed to see your worth were never meant to have you. You are not waiting in vain. Every moment of longing, every tear you've shed, every whispered prayer, it has all been seen by God. Yet the enemy has worked tirelessly to convince you otherwise. He has whispered lies into your heart, trying to make you believe that love is not meant for you. He has told you that you are forgotten, unworthy, or simply not destined for happiness. He has taken your disappointments and shaped them into doubts, hoping you would give up on the promise God has written over your life. But stop for a moment and ask yourself, if your love story wasn't powerful, why would the enemy try so hard to make you doubt it? The enemy does not attack what is insignificant. His greatest fear is that you will hold on to faith and trust in the divine timing of God. He knows that when your love story unfolds, it will be a testimony, one that will silence every doubt and prove that God always fulfills his promises. Look at Ruth. She lost everything: her husband, her security, her home. She could have chosen to give up, to let bitterness take over, but instead, she followed God's path. She remained faithful even when the future seemed uncertain. And in doing so, she walked right into the arms of Boaz, a man of honor and integrity, a man whom God had already prepared for her. Her story reminds us that even in loss, God is leading us to something greater. Think about Sarah. She waited decades for God's promise to be fulfilled. She even laughed at the thought of having a child in her old age. It seemed impossible. Time had passed. Hope seemed lost. But God's timing is never late. It is always perfect. Isaac was born, just as God had promised now. Think about you. Do you truly believe that the same God who orchestrated love stories for generations has somehow forgotten yours? Impossible. The love God has for you is already written. It is sealed in heaven, untouched by human rejection, protected from every past heartbreak, immune to every lie the enemy has spoken over your life. No disappointment, no delay, and no doubt can erase what God has already set in motion. Hold on, stay faithful, and trust that when God writes a love story, nothing and no one can take it away. When this love arrives, it will be more than just a relationship. It will be a testimony. It will be undeniable proof that God's promises are true, that His timing is perfect, and that no rejection, delay, or disappointment could stop what He has ordained for you. The very people who once mocked your faith, who doubted that true love was possible for you, will be left speechless. They will have no choice but to watch as you step into a love so profound, so divinely orchestrated, that it will erase every lie ever spoken against you. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. This love will be an overflowing cup, a demonstration of God's faithfulness, a reminder that He never forgets His promises. It will restore what the enemy tried to steal, your confidence, your hope, your belief in love. Where rejection once made you feel unworthy, this love will remind you that you were always worth waiting for. This love will not be built on fleeting attraction or temporary infatuation. It will not be something you have to chase, beg for, or fight to keep. It will never leave you feeling insecure, questioning your worth, or doubting your place in someone's heart. Instead, it will be a covenant, sealed in faith and divine purpose. It will be a love that uplifts, strengthens, and heals. A partnership that reflects God's glory. It will be the kind of love that feels safe, certain, and unwavering, where you are cherished for who you truly are. This love will not only bring joy to your heart, but it will also silence every doubter, proving that God's plans for you were far greater than what anyone could have imagined. What once seemed impossible will now stand as a testimony to His power and His perfect love for you. Every moment of loneliness was never wasted. It was a season of divine preparation. Those nights when your heart ached, believing that love had passed you by, were not empty moments of despair. They were sacred. Your tears were not in vain. They were watering the seeds of something greater, something heaven-ordained, something worth every second of the wait. It may have felt like silence, like your prayers were echoing into nothingness, but all along, heaven was moving. Every moment you chose faith over fear, every time you surrendered your desires instead of grasping at something less, you were waging spiritual warfare. You were breaking chains you couldn't see, dismantling generational cycles that had kept others bound. You were preparing your heart, stretching your spirit, allowing God to refine you so that when His promise arrived, you would be ready to receive it fully. Waiting is not punishment. It is preparation. God wasn't withholding love from you. He was protecting you from anything less than His best. He wasn't ignoring your prayers. He was aligning them with His perfect timing. What you thought was delay was actually divine strategy. And now the shift is happening. The long nights of wondering, the seasons of waiting, the whispered prayers in solitude, all of it has led to this moment. The season of waiting is ending, and the season of fulfillment is beginning. The doors that once seemed closed are opening, and what once felt impossible is now within reach. God is speaking. My child, I have seen your tears. I have heard your prayers. I have watched you trust me even when you couldn't see the way forward. And now, I am bringing you the love I have prepared for you. The love that is coming is not just an answer to your prayers. It is a reflection of my faithfulness. It is a love that will glorify me, a love that will stand the test of time, a love that was always meant for you. What is coming will not just heal your heart, it will prove that the wait was never wasted. It will remind you why settling was never an option. The love that is about to enter your life is not just a blessing, it is a testimony of endurance, of faith, of a God who never forgets His promises. This love story will be written by the hand of God, sealed by His favor, and no one, not even the enemy, will be able to erase it. So, stand tall, hold your head high, because your true love is not just coming, it is here. The love that was once a promise is now becoming a reality. The story they thought had ended is just beginning, and the next time they laugh, it won't be at you. If this message has touched your heart, don't let the journey end here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay connected as we continue to walk in faith, uncover God's promises, and embrace the love He has prepared for us. Your support helps spread this powerful message. Let's walk this journey together.